Glad to be with you all. I really am. As at 6 o'clock, we got 3 hours. We go into what I think we know it is shelter in place, but I believe the way the mayor has termed it, I think and I kind of like this, Brad. He calls it safer at home. I think that is a very good way to sort of let everybody know how it is.
Yeah, I feel safe. I'm at home, and I hope everybody is being safe and practicing good common sense and following the law. And tonight is 2 weeks since the Memphis Grizzlies last played. They played on that Tuesday night. That was the heartbreaking big blown lead game and lost to Orlando. Tonight they would have been playing in New Orleans after having played New Orleans at home on Saturday. Tonight will be the seventh game missed. Tomorrow night would have been the Boston Celtics at home at FedEx Forum, and that will be the eighth game missed.
Big things, by the way, happening today. I don't know if you've seen this story. Big things happening in New Orleans. And another proof positive. You guys make fun of me all the time, but another proof positive that Zion Williamson, one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. Did you see?
No. That was not the comment. That was not the comment, Drew, was it?
The comment was the greatest college basketball player of all time.
Greatest you've ever seen in your
not of the.
No, I never said
David William.
Never.
David William, we know you.
Never.
And we love you.
Never. But did you see today that Zion Williamson was honored by the aquarium?
The aquarium.
You name one other college basketball player that ever got a penguin chick. First of all, I didn't know it was a baby penguin was called a chick, but it is. Name one other college basketball player that has a penguin chick named after him.
Drew, what you got? I've got nothing.
I could probably do some research and figure it out, but at the top of my head,
you would have to do a lot of research. That is.
Boy, fill
sure.
in the joke there. If Bill Walton ever had a chick named after him.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bill Walton, Tiger fans, you know what today is? I mention it every year on this date. 47 years ago today, it's already in the books. It was a 12:30 tip on your local NBC station. I watched it on Channel 5, but I listened to Jack Eaton and George Kirk do the game. The Tigers had already bested Providence College Friars by this time on this day, 47 years ago, March 24th, 1973, and we're awaiting the winner of Indiana UCLA, and we knew who was going to win it.
Yeah. That's it, right? It's wow.
Yep. I mention it every year, and 2 days from now on the 26th, which was supposed to be the day that Major League Baseball started this year, on Thursday the 26th, it will be the 47th anniversary of the Tigers and UCLA meeting that night. Yesterday, Steve Macy told us about putting up the first half of the radio call. Yeah. Remember, that game was tied, and the Tigers briefly had them right where you wanted them, up 2 with about 19 minutes to play to start the second half.
We've had a lot of repeats. We had the Kansas and the Memphis game, the 2008 I did not either.
Never will.
Up 9 with 2:12 to go. That is what I will remember for the rest of my life.
Never will watch it. Never will watch a second of it.
There was a guy, this is sort of a belated honor, because I think this happened a little while ago. But I certainly want to congratulate our friend who was briefly with the University of Memphis basketball program, Damon Stoudemire. Damon Stoudemire, who is going to join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock. But Damon Stoudemire was the winner of the Jobe Award. That goes to the best minority coach of the year. And he took Pacific to a 23-10 record this year. Drew, did that win the Big West?
No.
Who won the Big West?
Let me recheck
West
it.
Was won by Gonzaga, wasn't it? No, that's West Coast Conference.
That's West Coast Conference, yeah.
Big West was won by, I don't know. But they did not win it.
No, because if they'd have won it, we would have known more, because they would have been in the tournament.
Ben Jobe, famous for being the coach at Southern University in Baton Rouge.
UC Irvine.
UC Irvine. When I first got into the honor of doing NCAA games on ESPN, one of the first postseason games I ever did was with Southern in Baton Rouge. It was a MEAC tournament, or was that? No, that would have been the
SWAC.
SWAC.
Mm-hmm.
I did both SWAC and the MEAC. And Ben
Nice.
Jobe was the coach. Was one of the coaches
And
at that time. He was still coaching.
And I never had any dealings with him, but heard was much like Eddie Robinson, just gentleman extraordinaire.
He was very nice to me. I can tell you, very classy kind of a guy too.
Mm-hmm. That's what I always heard.
Yeah, we do have a somewhat a busy show as always. We've got coming up top and not top story. I'll go over the coronavirus update from the dashboard today, and you can bet your bottom dollar by the time we get off the air, there will be more. But then at
you can, Dave.
Yeah,
and
it's just that's the way it is.
And the fatality rate, I found a news site that quickly breaks down the percentages of the fatality rate. And, when you see Italy now at 9.86, Iran at 7.79%, China at 4.04%, France at 4.93%, United States at 1.28%. 658 deaths out of 51,215 confirmed cases. I mean, those percentages keep climbing, and some faster than others. Wonder when this is all over, what the final number will be. To me, the most important number is the fatality number.
Well, that certainly is. Yes, the most paramount number. And when you talk about the differences, almost 10% in Italy, about 1.25%, under 1.25% in the United States.
So far.
But China was somewhat lower. What was it? Did you say 4%?
Yeah, almost 5%
Okay.
in the United Kingdom. 5.22 in the United Kingdom.
I can't figure out why, and it would be so high in Iran and in Italy, and not that high in China, or why it's 1.25% in the United States. Are we healthier as a people? Maybe this goes back because it's such a respiratory disease, and I'm certainly not qualified to really speculate, but in my own mind I do. And I say to myself, we are a society that has cut back on smoking a great deal. And in Italy, if you've ever been to Europe, Europeans, France too, they smoke like
They
chimneys
love to smoke
all the time. I mean, they get up in the morning. The first thing they do is get a cigarette before they go to bed at night to get a cigarette. And
they're burning
so
one constantly.
You would have to think that the tobacco use and respiratory illness, which go hand in hand, would be a big reason why you would have that. I was trying to remember in my journeys in China how much smoking there was. You really didn't look at that because there was so much pollution from smokestacks. You didn't bother to look to see how much, I guess, that smoking
was. And it's also,
was.
Dave, I don't know confirmation-wise, but I can speculate as to why, my reasoning as to why we have a really good medical system in the United States with a lot of really smart people that are on top of it, and I no more believe those numbers from China than anything.
Well, that is true. I don't know where the dashboard coronavirus website gets their numbers. It's pretty well identical to the Johns Hopkins. The Johns Hopkins actually may be a little bit faster, but they're getting those numbers somewhere, and they claim to be real numbers. I guess I'm going to have to take them for their word. But I'm hopeful that there is a vaccine that is down the pike that will work. I know that there are some people think they have remedies. I wouldn't go by those remedies for sure. I would say do what your doctor says is the way I go by this.
I would too, but if you're desperate enough, you'll try about anything.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if you're at the end and there's no help in sight, you would probably try whatever you could at that particular time. Hopefully. We don't get to that junction.
Hopefully we don't.
Yeah, that is for sure. So here, coming up at 3:30, our friend from Streets Ministries. We have not talked to Ken Bennett in a long, long time. Ken's going to join us. We'll find out what's going on with his world, which is, basically taking care of people and what's going on there. And I know he is also very dependent upon money that has been given in the past, which gets interest, or money that is given, and I think giving is probably down when there are so many companies that have thrust upon their employees for survival, cutting of wages, then you know that giving to charity goes down too. And we'll see what he's up to at 4 o'clock. We'll talk with Brent Beard in Jacksonville and catch up with what's going on with all of the state of Florida in college and the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL. At 4:30, I think this is going to be very interesting. Good friend of mine is a young man named John St. Clair. You've probably seen John because John's been a referee in the NCAA for years, literally 15, 20 years, long time. And we're going to talk to him about officiating and how people can get started in officiating and all the camps they go through. And I'm going to start this off by just saying, the tough rules to enforce, now the changes. Has the circle helped you with the block and the charge? And also, if he were the czar of the rules, what rules pertaining to making calls in the game better for officials and for the game itself, what rules would he change? He'll join us at 4:30. At about 4:50, Tom Powers, who is with the restaurant group that owns Flight, Southern Social, Coastal Fish Company, that new beautiful place that is in Shelby Farms, and also the brand new, just opened in Overton Square, Porch and Parlor, that steakhouse. He's going to join us. They've got some new ideas that they are doing. We'll talk a little bit about the restaurant business. As always, at 5 o'clock on Tuesday evenings, our friend from collegetopro.com, Bo Marchant, will join us. And then, of course, at 5:50, it'll be crunch time. So we are busy for sure.
We are. This portion of our show brought to you every day. This hour of our show every day brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2020 models and always on special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and driving in style. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, as every day now, as has become the tradition, and I can't wait for this tradition to end, we let you know what's going on in the world of coronavirus. The dashboard tells me now worldwide, we're in the 70s. 75 of 92 countries have been infected, 410,713. That fatality number keeps getting bigger. Over 18,000 now, 18,296 deceased. We have 135 cases in Shelby County, 176 in the Metroplex. The state of Tennessee has 615. The state of Mississippi has 320. That is up from 249 late Monday. So it is starting to really accelerate. The state of Mississippi, totally in the United States now, 50,529. This is kind of neat. The chamber now has a new job listing for companies that are in need of immediate hiring. If you go to COVID-19 business resources page, you can find out if you're looking for work, if you've been let go, if you're a bartender, if you work at a hotel, if you were a casino worker, if you were a dealer, whatever it may have been down there, there are new opportunities. Go to COVID-19 business resources page. And in the next couple of days, we're going to get, as this thing gets better and better, there is a friend who has advertised with us before, Rob Ritchie from Pro Resume, and he's really a master at finding jobs and understands the way the current job markets work, and he's going to join us. This was interesting. Our friend that is very much involved in the bookstore novel, talking about John Virgos, who obviously also owns The Rendezvous. They are doing a free delivery and curbside pickup for books. That's the first bookstore I've ever heard of doing that, but I don't think they were on the essential needs. So this is how they are keeping their business going, by doing this. So, and look, I know many of you are probably watching the heck out of Netflix or Hulu or HBO on demand or whatever it may be. But if you like to read books, you can't get out and get them, Novel has a novel idea. It'll be curbside and free delivery. Can you imagine calling up and saying, hey, can you send me the latest Tom Clancy? Just deliver it? I think that's cool as could be.
It is, and we love Novel. 184 countries now infected out of 195 in the world. 184 out of 195.
Don't
Only 11 to go to make it.
Don't you
know,
think
David, for a long time.
Don't you think we'll get to 195?
I want to know who the 11 holdouts are.
I'm with you. 184.
I want to see.
Wow. Man.
And through the years, Dave, listening to the Big Orange Network, kind of when they throw the break on football, but I don't know if they do it on basketball, but on football, it's very alliterative. They'll say from Memphis to Milan, and from to Knoxville, to Humboldt, and yesterday I said this is a world situation from Memphis to Madagascar. It's literally from Texas to Tanzania.
It is. It's crazy.
My top story?
Yes.
It's official. No Tokyo Olympics this year, postponed until next year. For the United States basketball team, exactly who will this impact? I know today Jerry Colangelo and Greg Popovich said, we're good for next year, but will Pop really want to be coaching next year? I think he wants to coach the Olympics once. They said, very embittered through the years of being one of the last cuts in 72, and he wanted to be on that team then. He's loved U.S. basketball. I hope he'll be around next year, but for some of the older stars in the NBA, like LeBron James, like Chris Paul, and even Steph Curry, will they be up to it next year? And the proposed NBA schedule changes, how will that impact the Olympics next year? The 2021 team, the team picture will look very different than what we thought the 2020 team picture would look like.
It could very well be. And your point is incredibly well taken. If, because they decide, and there's John Hollinger used to be a Grizzlies vice president, John Hollinger has proposed a fourfold plan that would take 80 days to complete the season, but that plan takes you into August. And if they do, would they then, okay, maybe let's give this a try, and we'll try to start maybe in December to make sure our guys get rested up. That would put you smack dab in the middle of the Olympics. It's a little like hockey. Would the NBA suspend for 2 weeks a season to allow the dream team to go compete in the Olympics? These are dilemmas that are coming up. There would have been no problem for the basketball team in an off season to go. But would there be that cooperation? These are interesting dilemmas for certain.
Not top story of the day.
And that's coming off the seventh place finish last year at the World Games.
Yeah, that's right. But that wasn't with our best guys either, and the rest of the world is catching up at a very rapid pace. My not top story is just exactly the same thing, the Tokyo Olympics, which have never been absolutely postponed and moved in history. 3 times because of war.
In peacetime.
The bottom line is this. No, they have been canceled, not postponed. These are moved to 2021. The past 3 times that we had the Olympics stopped, they did not play the games. So
because of World War I and World War II in 40 and 44.
Yeah. So this is the first time. This is a historical first. Also, I think not a top story. It's interesting. The owners of the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils are a group that own both teams. They had initially had a story today where they were cutting back salaries The higher paid
20%.
salaries were going to get 20%, correct. And I think it was going to be gradual. There will be some that would lose 10 to 15% depending on how much money they made. So the ones that were making the most money were going to take the more dramatic cuts. They have had to do a 180 on that. Apparently, they were shamed into changing their minds. They are not going to slash the pay of their people.
Isn't that something, Dave? We missed the Olympics in 40 and 44
Right.
over a human being that was the scourge of planet Earth, Adolf Hitler. And now, something we can't see, we don't know if it's around, COVID-19, the scourge of planet Earth. My not top story, NBA players and owners reportedly want to do anything they can to salvage the 2019-2020 season, no matter what, even if it's as late as September to complete the season. Noble, but what do you think crowds will be like at a lot of places, maybe even contending teams in August, and the sports calendar waking up for everybody, baseball and even the start of preseason football, and looking forward to football if indeed we were to start in August and have sports in August? And what about summertime free agency, the draft? Very noble by the NBA, I don't think realistic.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Those are your top and your not top stories of the day. Have you seen this? And I'm really looking forward to chatting with Beau Marchant about this. That Deshaun Watson is trying to get out of Texas, where they've taken away his favorite target, and they are strapped for cash, and he's trying to get to New England. If he became Bill Belichick's quarterback, would there be downtime in New England?
I think there's going to be some compared to where they've been. Now, you're going to compare it to, exiting last year in the wild card round. It may not be, but is Deshaun Watson going to lead that roster to a Super Bowl next year, or even a Super Bowl appearance? So anything shy of that, and maybe even AFC Championship game, I think that would be considered downtime. That's a tough scale, and that's a tough judge, but it's the Patriots.
It's the Patriots, and it's Belichick, and that defense was pretty good last year. For the most part, pretty darn good. And if they got Not that he's going to be as effective as Tom Brady right off the bat. People forget they were 8-0 to start the year last year. So they still had some talent, and they still will have some talent. And Deshaun Watson gives you a different look, and that would be something that Belichick would have to figure, and his offensive coordinator would have to figure out. But I think immediately, if they were to get, depending on the price that they would have to give up to get Deshaun Watson, but that sure beats the heck out of the Stidhams and the Hoyers that they have right now. Do you realize, by the way?
Yeah, if you can do that.
Did you know that Hoyer's been with 7 NFL teams now? 7.
He's played for everybody, and he's been fairly averaged with everybody, but able to hang around. It's a good job. You don't want to get exposed that you really can't play, but for Deshaun Watson to go to New England, the Patriots' high bar, he would be judged by. He's up to it, and he's that big a big timer. But that would be a very different offense for Bill Belichick. I think he could conform and adapt. Offense is not his main strong suit. He's more of a defensive guy, but he's got a good offensive guy in Josh McDaniels.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. I mean, that would be one major pickup after, if you were a New England fan and you saw Tom Brady. By the way, I just learned that Tom Brady in his new contract, there is no franchise tagging. The language is in there where they can't do that. So he's just going to be there 2 years. He's going to make $60 million, and we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. Now, another thing that will help Deshaun Watson with New England, and it helps New England every year, it may be getting a little better, but when the history of the Patriots gets written, it's going to get written that they're that good. Belichick was that good. Kraft was that good. Brady was that good, and all the stars that were that good. But playing in that AFC East always helped them too.
Oh yeah, no question about that. But
it's pure slop.
If you were grading the quarterbacks of the future, right? and you were trying to figure out which ones you were going to grab, I would start with the Super Bowl champion. I would probably look at Seattle.
Kansas City.
Yeah, that's where I started. Kansas City, Seattle, and Lamar Jackson would be up there, but Deshaun Watson's right there. Those would probably be the four that you would want to build a team around.
Time will tell on Kyler Murray.
Too early to really make that claim, right?
Right.
But I think
whoever drafts Joe Burrow.
And Joe Burrow, but then again, it's too early to really see if he will be the guy that we thought.
Tua. I still think there's a little something left in Matt Ryan, and I think Dak Prescott's a big-time star.
I'm just not as convinced. The four guys I mentioned earlier, I definitely know that I could build a team around them. Dak would probably be the next level where I would start. And then the other guys are rookies, so I don't really know. And Kyler Murray just has one year under his belt.
Who was left out there, Drew? You notice?
Oh, I did notice.
Well, he's not in the top 10 guys. I mean, let's be honest. Mitchell Trubisky, Sir Mitch, to you, is not in the top 10.
Top 20.
That's at this point that's a fair question to ask. That's a fair question.
And we breeze right over Drew Brees.
No, because those are not guys that you would build for the future. You wouldn't put in Tom Brady.
You're talking
you wouldn't
future.
put
You're
in
right.
Drew Brees.
Right.
Those are clearly those are the two best quarterbacks still in the league. I mean, look at their numbers. Yeah. All right, we got to take a timeout. When we come back, we will hook up with Ken Bennett from Streets Ministries and see what it's like for him in this era of coronavirus 19. Back in a second. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Now exclusively at the Home Depot. Give your lawn a 1-2 punch with a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action and save 50% on a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Ultra Feed. Pick up both bags. Apply Triple Action now to knock out tough weeds and Ultra Feed 8 weeks later to green and feed all season. 2 bags. One stronger, greener lawn. With a 1-2 punch with Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action and 50% on a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Ultra Feed. Now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. While supplies last, selection varies by store.
It's not too early to start planning for spring at Family Leisure. New pools are starting at $19.99, spas starting at $21.99, and swim spas now only $99.99. 5-piece patio furniture starts at only $799. Pool chemicals, toys, accessories, and more up to 20% off. Mention this ad, you'll get free delivery and 1 month of chemicals with your spa purchase. Start your spring planning now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hi, friends. I'm Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Jewelers, and for 5 decades, we've been the personal jeweler to thousands of Memphians and Mid-Southerners. For many, many years, we have been offering the finest and beautiful jewelry to help our customers celebrate those very special occasions and let their loved ones know just how treasured they are. Diamonds and the finest gemstones are our specialty. Set in whatever she wants, a ring or pendant, a pair of earrings, or a bracelet. We search the world's finest jewelry markets looking for pieces that are not only exquisite and beautiful, but that are also unique and eye-catching. We can help you make her smile in a way that neither one of you will ever forget. Come see us at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Let us put our many years of experience to work for you. Let us help you say, I love you in the most wonderful way you can imagine. 5 decades providing beauty, value, quality, and service. Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome in. Midway through hour number one on this sort of dreary Tuesday. Weather's kind of like the mood to a certain extent around here. Wolo and Stats with you until 6 o'clock this afternoon. And for the next few weeks, we will try to catch up with a lot of different people in a lot of different walks of life to see how the coronavirus has affected them and what they are trying to accomplish on their path. And one of those people who's been on a very beautiful path, that would be Ken Bennett from Street Ministries. Ken takes some of his time out today to join us, and we truly appreciate that. Ken, how are you doing? I hope your family is safe and healthy.
They are. Thanks for having me. Yeah, hope you guys are well. Yeah, we're doing great. Everybody's kind of, I'm an old guy, so I still go into the office every day. But my family's locked down with their jobs and able to do work at home, and we're all healthy at this point. So thanks for asking. We're great.
What is the effect that the virus has had on Street Ministries? You obviously can't go and be in person to the gyms or to a lot of the events that you might used to have had. So what does that do to you?
Yeah, it's hard. Obviously we have two 34,000 square feet facilities, one in South Memphis, Claiborne Foot Homes area, and one in the Kingsbury area, Graham Heights. And so obviously through orders and wisdom, we can't open up to families and kids. So, you stay in touch with kids over social media and on the phone and try to figure out how to be a resource to them if you know where food or supplies or those kind of help things are. But, it kind of cripples you a little bit. And so we're doing the best we can. And we're not alone in that. There's youth centers all over the city. I've talked to youth leaders for the past 48 hours that are trying to retool and figure out and really trying to take care of part-time staff. All of us have so many part-time staff out there that we employ solely to be with kids at our centers in the afternoon, and now that the centers aren't open. So for Streets and others, we're still paying our part-time staff because they need the money, and we want to retain them once this thing is over. But for some of them, some of the part-time staff are having to go elsewhere to find employment. So that's kind of hard on us.
Ken, for your organization, everybody is looking forward to the day that we are liberated from COVID-19 and we can live our lives again and go and recreate and spend and have fun. I think the opposite could happen to you. Are you braced to the onslaught, the deluge of people that will need to be tended to and administered to?
Yeah, I talked with our on-site executive director, Eric Valentine at Streets, and we were talking through that for a couple hours today. What supplies do we need to have on hand? And, one of the things, Stats, is, kids will have been out of school for so long. So looking at summertime stuff, we always talk about the crippling effect of kids not being educationally stimulated in the summer, and we usually talk in terms of end of May to middle of August, and now we're talking in terms of March till we don't know when. So looking at how do we gear up to help families educate their kids during this time, because school could be suspended, but our centers could be open in May. So that's one thing. And there again, what role do you play in services of helping you with utilities or phone bills or certainly food supplies, and how do you connect people, and do we go out and purchase some stuff? And so don't really have any answers right now, but that's what we're spending an inordinate amount of time thinking about and talking through with leaders around the city right now.
A couple of things come to my mind when you say those things. First off, the food, which is so important because in the areas that you are so importantly serving, a lot of the young kids were getting food through schools, and then that was going to continue even in the off time here, and schools don't go back till April the 6th. But because somebody in the food prep was exposed to the coronavirus, that went away. There have been several other entities that have stepped up that say that they will fill that void. Is that happening for you right now?
Not at this moment, but yeah, I've got the same information you have. There have been restaurants and individuals that are willing to step up. You know, it's like everything else in our country. How logistically do you smoothly make that happen, and how do you get in contact and with folks that you have relationships with, and so that's, you know, we kind of knew when they said they would supply food. We all sat there going, yeah, but during this food prep service, there are going to be a lot of food preppers that will end up being exposed to corona. So this wasn't something we said, I can't believe this happened, but you certainly didn't want it to happen. But I don't know a definitive. I know there's a bunch of restaurants out there trying to solve that problem along with centers around the city.
And then the other,
when you see that 7% of the New York City police force had to legitimately call in sick for work
right.
today, and Ken, you mentioned food preppers. We're going to have police. We could get down in a large city, maybe even New Orleans, somewhere real close. Who knows? If not for the great preventative measures taken here in Memphis, it could be in Memphis with nurses and doctors. We could get in a slim supply of warm bodies, just people that can do anything.
Absolutely. You know, it's the great conflict right now of, you know, stay shuttered in but help. And so I mean, we're very vulnerable, and that's why we're trying to do everything we can along with other folks in the city, coupled with, quite frankly, getting on our knees and praying every night for God's grace and mercy.
The other aspect to the kids and education is, I know the superintendent of schools said it would be very tricky for us to go online like the colleges are going to do, because a significant amount of the population that are young students don't have computers or really access in their homes to computers. I don't know if that is one of the areas that you are trying to, you know, pick up the slack.
Well, and one of the things, you know, we've been in dialogue with a bunch of folks is, you know, you don't know incrementally how this works. So you say, you know, in 2 weeks, will Mayor Strickland go, hey, we're going to ease up, but we don't want more than 30 people gathering, or 10 people, or will it be 50 people? And will it be all of a sudden we're all back in? And so we're kind of looking at all those angles going, okay, we, like at Streets, we have 2 significant computer centers. And so could we during the day have specified times for kids to come in, get online, get their lessons or whatever their teachers have put out there for them? I'm involved with a school that me and some mutual friends of mine and Dave started years ago called New Hope Christian Academy. And we were able, because of our network, we were able to bring our kids to get stuff at school prior to this shutdown. And we staggered that, and then our teachers are actually on call at New Hope Christian Academy for 2 hours a day for their students. But there again, like Dave is saying, you know, everybody doesn't have that luxury. So logistically, how do you do it? And I don't know. You know, all of our sites around the city, many youth providers have computers, but how do you get kids to the site safely? How many can gather? I mean, those are things we won't answer in the next week or so, but we're talking about it.
I guess one other aspect that comes to my mind is, just like everybody who is tied to 401ks or trying to save for their future, if I recall, you have been given several gifts over the years, some that were pretty handsome, and
sure,
that I suspect that there is a certain amount of endowment that you have that has sort of been cut away. Plus, in this hard time when people are slashed of salaries and, you know, they're wondering about what's going to happen with them, giving is not quite as ample as it once was. How do you deal financially? Because your programs have needs.
Sure, and it's like at everybody's house, you know, your rainy day fund is set up for a rainy day, not a catastrophic event, right? So, I mean, we're like everybody else, and certainly, year end where people oftentimes give stock gifts to all nonprofits around the world. Some of those will take a hit for sure, and then some people, there might be donors out there listening to various ministries or institutions or wherever, nonprofits. One way you can help a nonprofit too is if you feel secure in where you're sitting financially and you had already committed a gift that you were going to give to them in November, maybe you could give it to them in June, maybe not. So there's different, but yeah, everybody's going to take a hit, and that's okay. I mean, most of us are in the business because we felt called to be there. It wasn't a cause; it was a call, and we've cycled through these times. Streets. I started Streets in '87, so we've been through some of, not exactly like this, but some up and down times financially. And God's always been faithful, but we're like businesses or our households. When you have to trim back, you have to trim back, and you have to subdivide your staff a little bit and get a lot out of a little. And so, but yeah, there are some uncertain times financially for a lot of institutions at this point.
And Ken, a month ago, it was high oil times. It was a good economy we've ever had, and I'm sure it felt like you were really being blessed with a lot of great contributors.
No, absolutely, and obviously we talk about it all the time. Memphis is an incredibly generous city, and are very kind with and sharing what they have. But times like this, it's Streets. We have an annual golf tournament that now we've put on the back burner till June 1, and hopefully that will happen. If it doesn't, that's a pretty significant fundraising event for Streets, and so we'll have to adjust to it. But your stats, you're 100% correct. Much different sitting here today than a month ago, feeling like you might live a little fat. Now you're figuring out how lean you can live and still get services to people.
One of the things that has really struck me about what we're going through right now is how so many different things are interconnected. Just a simple thing like a golf tournament for you, which gets taken away. Now that could be programs
right.
that you can offer that now you have to figure out a new way if you can do them at all.
Sure. And that's, necessity is the mother of invention, and we'll all go through that. And we've got staff that understands that raises might not take place or contributions might not take place, or, we're even looking at, we take kids to a camp in Missouri in June. We're in dialogue with that camp that probably won't be open and rerouting some things. We had college tours, which we do every spring break, that we couldn't do this year. And so just a lot of adjustments. But, at this point, I think we've been blessed, and many others have, that at this point, they're more of an inconvenience. But if it was over a sustained period of time, it'd be more than an inconvenience. But we'll take it as it comes and try to do the best we can. And Memphis has so many incredible nonprofits in the city, and so many great and generous foundations and people that we'll make do on what we have, and hopefully everything will rebound next year, and things will be okay.
Well, we all pray for that. Last thing, Ken Bennett from Street Ministries joining us, and I know, Ken, nobody talks about this, and you're around the kids a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How are they coping? Are young people scared?
Yeah, I think so, and especially the lower you are on the economic run, the more vulnerable you are. And so I think we oftentimes, although we've done a better job in our culture recently of realizing the trauma that people go through, and that we have to process it out with them and live through it with them. I remember a poignant time years ago. I was talking to a kid on the phone who was on a front porch stoop over in the Old Foot Homes and heard gunfire. And he said, "Hey, I got to go back in. They're shooting again." And to me, the way he said it was, "Oh, they're shooting again." But that's trauma. And so many times we look at folks being resilient, but still when we go through these events and stages in life, there's long-lasting trauma that we need to process out. So the most vulnerable of our society are really scared right now because, you know, for me and Debbie and our kids, we got a little money in the bank, we got plenty of food in the refrigerator, and we're not in any kind of panic stage right now. We got heat and air on, but there's a huge portion of our community who realize if I don't go to work tonight, where's that loaf of bread? And that's a real trauma that not only do we need to physically help them through, but we need to emotionally and psychologically be able to help them through.
I'm with you. If anybody cares to give to you guys or figure out a way to help you guys, what would they do? How do they get a hold of you?
You can go to streetsministries.org. It's our website, and there's a place to donate there. And if you can't donate now, when you can, think of us. And if we're not exactly in your niche, there's just great nonprofits in the city that are doing great work too. And so find some place to give. It's not streets. Find a place that's loving the most vulnerable in our city and find a way to become attached to them. That'd be great.
Ken, thank you so much. Best to your family.
Thank
Stay
you.
healthy.
Keep up the great work.
We appreciate you.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you, Ken.
Take care. Bye.
Ken
Thank
Bennett
you.
from Street Ministries. This portion of the show brought to you by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, February. If you haven't heard, it's been extended. I've seen a lot of different sales now because of what we're going through. They are extending sales. John did this before the coronavirus hit, but I know he is committed to helping anything he can in this community. And one of those was to continue with February, where you will get an 80% free gas furnace if you buy a standard Carrier air conditioning system. Just make the call at 384-3511, and John is very generous, especially this time of year. It's not just the free gas furnace with that system. You get a free parts warranty. You get a free Nest thermostat. You get interest free on your loan. There's a lot of things you got to love when you're talking about getting a new system from Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. We take a break. We're back in a minute. We'll put a wrap on this first hour on this dreary Tuesday of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Attention Walmart shoppers. This is a Jackson Hewitt tax service announcement. Save time and money with Jackson Hewitt and Walmart. For a limited time, you can shop while a skilled Jackson Hewitt tax pro prepares your federal tax return for as little as $48, but no more than $149, only at Jackson Hewitt and Walmart. Hurry, this offer won't last. Get your coupon code and terms at jacksonhewitt.com. Then stop by one of our Walmart locations for this limited time offer to get your taxes done while you shop for only $149 or less. That's Jackson Hewitt and Walmart.
I'm Dr. George Flynn with Flynn Broadcasting Company. The coronavirus situation is causing a lot of cancellation of events, schools, concerts, sporting events, and all kind of social gatherings. It's called social distancing. But you do not have to be distant mentally from everyone in the community because Flynn Broadcasting is with you. We love you. We want to make sure that you are connected and protected from the coronavirus. So keep listening to this Flynn Broadcasting Station. We'll keep you informed, we'll keep you in touch, and we'll keep you connected to your friends. So as soon as this situation is over, we can go back to our normal living. I'm Dr. George Flynn with Flynn Broadcasting Company saying we love our community, we love you as individuals, and we are committed to your well-being.
Frontier Western Store is proud to announce their T-shirt sale is back. All regularly priced novelty T-shirts are buy one, get a second half price. Tons of new prints by Simply Southern, Girly Girl, and Puppy Love, as well as men's tees by Live Oak and Haybo are included. Frontier's women's boutique is loaded with new styles and colors and current trends of tops, tunics, and dresses. And most are just $14.99, available small to 3X. While you're there, be sure to check out Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Shop thousands of boots year-round that are in stock, ready to try on and take home. Shop at a local store with excellent service. With their extensive selection of dress and work boots, you are certain to find your next favorite pair. Frontier receives new styles and restocks daily from all the largest boot makers: Dan Post, Durango, Rocky, Ariat, and more. Available in men's, women's, or children's. Outfit the entire family. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in as we wind down our first hour here. And as always, it seems in the 3 hours, Brett, that we are on, ever since this coronavirus really became something of a major factor in our life, there have been 3 or 4 stories within the 3-hour period of time that break every day.
Every day.
We just got the latest, and that
12
is
straight days of it.
Governor Bill Lee has now called for schools to remain closed until April 24th.
Friday the 24th.
Yep. This is the latest that comes from state government. So the originally, the kids would have been back in school from spring break this week, right? And then it was extended a week, and then it was extended to April 6th, and now they're saying April 24th is how long public schools will stay closed.
And that's on the educational front. On the sports front, I don't know if we get anything from baseball or golf this week, but it feels like next week we will. One thing from golf today, the people that put on the Charles Schwab tournament down in Fort Worth at Colonial, they are still saying they're good to go for that date. I hope they're right.
I hope they're right, too. I really do. That's the last week in June, correct?
No, it's in May.
Oh, in May. I'm sorry. I think that's far-reaching. That'll be tough. That's right, because the PGA is now so the Augusta was going in April, and the PGA in May was going, so this would be the last week in May. I hope that happens, but I would be –
No,
I still think
it's not the last week in May. It's the 21st through the 24th. The last weekend in May is the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit. Charles Schwab at Colonial in Fort Worth, they're saying they're good to go. That would be May 21st. That is very auspicious in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't think until middle of June or even the 1st of July, the July 4th weekend. I think that's the first time. Hopefully, we would see sports. I think otherwise it would be really hard. Now, a golf tournament would be a different story. It's not like if we resumed, let's say, the NBA or the NHL or, for that matter, baseball. Not resumed it, but went back to spring training. Don't you think there are a couple of weeks you have to get in to get your legs back under you, practice a little bit, know your teammates again, get back in game condition?
The Blue Jays general manager said it needed a month. Well, if sports starts back 4th of July weekend, one of the very first things back could be the WGC FESJI. That's the weekend it is scheduled for.
Yeah, but the golf thing to me is a little different. And that's because it's done by you. And most of these touring pros now, they have simulators in their dens, in their houses, in their garages. And so they can go practice to a certain extent, not as good as going to a club, but for a lot of these people, they can go to their club and basically go to a sand trap, go to their driving range, stay on the other side, stay social distance and a whole lot more, and still practice your sport, and then you go out and you do it when they're back. So I don't think that needs 2 weeks of training. But I think these other sports, especially the team sports, you're going to need that.
You are, and one thing that could impact the WGC FESJI, though, is such the world feel. Can they get here? How many are here? How many could get here? And then, in an outdoor setting, I think, as I said it yesterday, I think baseball and golf will be the first slow trud, trudging back into sports because of the outdoor nature of it and not as cramped. I think it's going to be hard for NBA and NHL. And for NBA, you have to start asking this about FedEx Forum. We've already missed these Grizzlies dates. We've missed concert dates. What if we miss the rest of the year dates? How's that bond payment made without people coming through that door?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that, because
how's AutoZone Park payment being made?
Well, and some of that is offset by that entertainment district too, right? Taxes and funds in lieu of taxes, and if you don't have people, because the bars are closed, that portion of the tax that might be used to pay these things off, they're not coming either. Those funds are not coming.
The very least of the Grizzlies' concern should be the stupid scan count from Tigers games.
Yeah. Well, they may not want to pay that money out too, though. That's where that money comes from.
Exactly.
Yeah. One little addendum to the school story, where now we know schools will remain closed until April 24th. And I did not know this, but the State Department of Education has secured a partnership with PBS. Starting April 6th, they will offer instructional content on TV while students are at home. And we were just talking with Ken Bennett about the fact that not everybody has access, young kids, to computers in their homes. But this would go a long way, because everybody's got a TV in their home.
Oh, the trickle-down effect of this is going to be so long-lasting. We're going to have stories done in 15 years, 20 years exactly of the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. It's going to be studied forever. But on the front lines are people like Ken Bennett, and I've always respected what he's done. He has done the Saints' work. And Dave, I do not want this to be does poverty cause crime? I'm not at all debating that. I do know this, though. A full stomach and somebody sincerely saying they care about you and love you is one of the great deterrents of all time to mischief.
No doubt about that. We've got an hour in the books. 2 more to come. When we return to Jacksonville, we will go. Brent Beard is standing by. We'll talk some college and NFL football with our friend down in Jacksonville. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
It starts small. No soy milk. Almond is fine.
Okay.
But then your boss tells you to switch offices with Jeff. And when buying a car, you know you have to compromise.
What about the all-new Nissan Sentra? It's radically redesigned with zero-gravity seats, a quilted leather interior, and it has the most standard safety features in its class.
So, no compromise then. Okay.
Refuse to compromise with the all-new Nissan Sentra.
Ward segmentation 2020 Sentra versus latest in-market economy compact class competitors. See owner's manual for safety information. Availability of features vary by vehicle model year, model, trim level, packaging, and options. Base models compared based on manufacturer's websites.
Central Barbecue is committed to the health and safety of this community, who has supported Central for almost 20 years. Central Barbecue is still open for business with to-go and delivery options to serve the greater Memphis area with the same great barbecue you have come to know and love. With 4 locations to serve you. From downtown, midtown, and East Memphis, you can order your favorite barbecue and enjoy everything on the menu in the comfort of your own home. Call your nearest Central Barbecue location for more information on delivery and to-go options today.
I have to go to the gym and untangle my headphones while warming up on the treadmill. And I'll finally untangle them 4 miles later, at which point I'm going to be real tired. Oh, yeah!
Motorcycles make everything exciting. And when Geico makes it easy to switch and save on motorcycle insurance, it's even more exciting.
And once I put my headphones in, I realize my phone's dead. Then I get to run in silence.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me Saturdays 8 to 9 a.m. for Sidelines here on Sports 56 WHBQ, 87.7 FM and 96.1. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, and your favorite team. Give us a call. That's Sidelines, Saturday mornings, 8 to 9 a.m. Sidelines is presented by Duncan Williams Asset Management. So get up and give us a call.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now,
more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Wolo and Stats with you. Hour number 2 of the program. Our title sponsor for this hour, you heard the announcer man. It's Genesis of Olive Branch. My friends down there, I hope they're doing well. I hope everybody is healthy. They are so committed to serving you. Last time I talked to Chris True, it was last week, and he was saying, oh, no, people still need to have their cars taken care of. And we see that when you look at what are essential personnel, essential businesses, there are probably more essential than non-essential. I was surprised when I looked at all of the listings, but people need their car to get to and from for the essential things, like going to the grocery store or getting their meds. And you can get your car taken care of at Olive Branch's Genesis. Wow, you certainly can. And, of course, every product there, and they got a lot, is there for you. You want to test drive a G90 like I have, it's there. Go ahead and check it out. You'll love it. Know that this technology is so good, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every car in the place. But they are really there for all different reasons, and they are still open. Please, get on Lamar. If you want to check out a new car, or if you need to have service on the one you've got, you take Lamar into Mississippi. The first exit is Craft Road. Turn left. You're there. That is Genesis of Olive Branch. Brent Beard joins us now. How are things in Jacksonville today? I do not know. I know in Memphis, in Nashville, starting tonight at 6 o'clock, we will be under basically what they call safer at home, which is, stay in your home, shelter in place. What's the status of what's going on in Jacksonville right now?
Very similar to that, Dave. We've got more testing going on down at the stadium. They're testing like 250 people per day, just basically lining cars up and just taking them one by one, going from there. Now, the good thing is here, or whatever county you're talking about, either Duval, which is the main one, or the surrounding counties, the numbers are still very low for anyone who has the virus. So, I mean, people are just kind of doing the best they can. It's abnormally hot down here for this time of year, and we're hoping to get a break with that maybe next week. I know you guys have had probably more rain and storms. You know what to deal with. We actually need some of that down here right now, but that's kind of where things are in Jacksonville.
And Brent, one of the old myths, one of the original myths about this disease is ultraviolet rays. Sunshine, heat would dissipate it, and it doesn't feel like that has gone on that much. Today, Dr. Birx of the White House Coronavirus Pandemic Task Force, she said in the last 8 days in the United States, we've done more testing than South Korea has done in 8 weeks.
Goodness. Well, we were a little slow getting out of the gate, but I think we're picking it up. Our credit overall, and people have just got to be able to unify for this, and the sooner we can do that, the sooner we start really talking football or basketball at that point too. And I think another concern with this is now I work with a lot of the older population. I mean, one of the and I believe I mentioned this last week, but one of the nursing homes here actually has 4 patients in it, and it's been basically locked down. I mean, the families will walk up to the window, wave at their loved one, and they leave. So they're not able to really get in either unless it's some kind of an emergency. But I think what we're seeing, too, is how it's affecting some younger people. So that's a concern, but at the same time, we do all we can to take care of ourselves and our loved ones, and we go day by day and hour by hour.
That's all we can do. And in the meantime, wonder what will happen. Like what will end up being the story for football? Will there be college football? Maybe early summer, because it looks like spring's not going to happen. How will this affect NFL camps? We know the draft is going to take place. You can do that without people. You can do that over phones. There'll be plenty of TV coverage. But what will the end result be in terms of the season itself or even training camp?
Well, so much of that is up for grabs right now. Mac Brown at North Carolina, who, by the way, is really doing a great job in recruiting, is mentioning some kind of a 10 days in the summer, kind of like a pro camp type thing. Guys, I would be more surprised if that happened. I still think that they're probably going to add a couple of weeks to the fall camp, which would mean you'd be in camp first week of August, last week of July, or something of that ilk at this point. I know now obviously the SEC is not allowing games, but they still have not ruled out something later on as far as maybe a couple of weeks or something like that in April or May. I frankly, I don't see that happening. I'm curious what you guys have heard, but I mean, we're just all speculating at this point. And I tell you, we had a pretty good debate about this the other day on another radio show. Was even when we get back, when will the fans be comfortable to come? In other words, whether it's Major League Baseball, if they don't start till June 1, just pick a date. When are the fans going to be comfortable to come back?
Comfortable with crowds?
What we do now, obviously, I think for Florida, Bama, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, if they said they were practicing tomorrow, they probably have a number of people camp overnight to see them just with the excitement of it. But that I think is a legitimate point, is it not, guys? Is we can say, yes, we're going to have the regular season and we're going to be able to get it all in, but when will fans be comfortable to start heading back to the stadiums? Immediately, or will that take a few weeks?
I think if our medical people and our president and our various governors and the CDC and the WHO all say, okay, we're on the recovery. You can have more than 50 or more than 100 or more than 10,000, then I think we'll believe that. And I think I would, and I would go. But I wouldn't do that until, and basically it's the WHO and the CDC, when they say it's safe, that's when I would go back.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's going to be what it's going to take, too. And obviously what we're going to have stadiums wiped down and disinfected and cleaned, maybe like we haven't seen in quite a while. Listen, for all three of us, for some of these stadiums, it may take to get down to the third layer of dirt before we trust it. But I think that would happen.
I do think, like in after 9/11, where security was a whole different world. I got a feeling we will all be much more germophobic. We will all be much more aware of where the sanitizing hand stuff is, washing our hands a lot more, quicker to tell people if there is something that is dirty in an office or anything, or at a stadium for that matter, that you will go, hey, I want to be safe while I'm here, so you need to clean that up. And I think we will become a lot more aware of that.
Well,
and my biggest concern about all of it, though, Brent, is
with an SEC network. If you'll have an edict at some point, not only the network, maybe even going into the fans, if folks, to what Dave's saying, I mean, we may be wearing gloves in these stadiums for a while. Certainly, as you mentioned, having the hand sanitizer handy, and you may see a lot of fans early on could be guys wearing masks.
Well, you could, Brent, and you could see a lot of fans doing that. I'm seeing more and more masks and gloves around in just the little bit of general society that I'm able to go out in, as most of us are staying pretty close to the house. But my bigger concern is not the germophobia. It's going to be, has anybody got any green cash in their pocket to go to this stuff when it opens back?
Well, yeah, listen, and this that is as big a concern, I think. Look, and there's a balance here of when do we got to keep people safe, but we also need to keep people employed. So
yeah, but I said after they said we could go back.
No doubt. The guy, I agree. That's as big a. That's a huge deal because of that. If that collapses, the ADs have. What we talked about. How do we get folks at the stadium? Well, that's going to be one of the things that can keep them away if that happens.
Off of that particular aspect of it all, what are you hearing? Because you're pretty tied in with what goes on in terms of the NCAA and their decision making. There are ramifications if you do indeed give the spring sports another year. And do you do it across the board? Is it just going to be for those seniors a one-time deal? Or if a freshman lost his freshman year or a junior lost his junior year? Are we going to do this for 4 more years so that everybody gets their right amount, which would be very costly because for the most part, spring sports are dependent upon other sports to make the money, not necessarily their sports. What do you think will happen with all this?
This is supposed to be voted on March the 30th with the appropriate Division I council. Now, I won't be surprised on the 30th if they come up and say they need more time with this. What Dave's talking about is very interesting because there are a lot of ramifications to this. Obviously, your folks in the spring sports, they did not have a real season. The ones in the winter did, and there's still talk will the players in the winter be granted more eligibility. Guys, I'd be surprised about that if they did, because I think the argument would be made that they had played most of their season. It was unfortunate they didn't get to play in their postseason tournament and the NCAA tournament. But I think you've got roster management involved with this. You've got not only how it would affect, say, the seniors, but also how would it affect the incoming freshmen or the coaches with this. There's a multi-layered situation here. And I'll be frank with you, I know and I give them credit that they're looking at this date of March 30th. Would it surprise you guys at all if that's delayed a week or two before they come up with any finality to this?
Well, personally, I don't think that there's any reason, and I don't mean to be harsh with this, but any reason that you would allow the winter sports to get any kind of extra eligibility. Yeah. I mean, for basketball, they played their entire regular season. Every one of them did. Some conferences had their conference champions. The only one in the Missouri Valley that is really out anything is Bradley, because they made the NCAA tournament. The only, out of the Southern Conference, the only school that's out anything is East Tennessee, because they won their tournament, and the other schools weren't going to go. They actually played all their conference tournaments. There were some schools that did get to play some of their conference tournament. Now, the majority of those in the Power Five and in the American did not. They didn't have their tournaments. And so that was tough luck. But they got their whole regular season. Now, when you talk about the winter sports or the spring sports, I do think they get it, that they should get it.
Too.
But the problem is, if they do, I think you've got to give it to everybody who lost a year. So now you're talking about adding basic, because none of them get full allotment of scholarships. But you're talking about a good number because you're going to have to do it for 4 years. So let's just say you're adding 3.5 in baseball. So you got to do that for 4 years, right? So now you're talking about 14 scholarships in a sport where most of the time they don't make money. You're certainly not making money in golf. You're certainly not making money in track. So if you're a Power 5 school, you probably have that somehow, or you can figure out a way with all that money that you're making from your own television conference deals where you could do that. If you're not, I don't see, for instance, in the American, which does not have a great deal of wealth, how they would be able to afford that across the board for all those spring sports. But I think if you do it for the one, you got to do it for all, and honestly, you probably should.
Well, and I think by doing that, Dave and Brett, don't you think at some point the NCAA may have to loosen some of their rules to allow, maybe even, will they allow larger rosters than what we've got?
Think so.
At this point, especially with these spring sports that frankly need them anyway. So I'll be curious if that's going to happen. Now, also in some of these reports, you're seeing where the NCAA is going to allow the colleges to reimburse high school students for money spent on official and unofficial trips to the campuses across the country. Listen, guys, we're in such new and different territory here that we really don't know the immediate and the future ramifications of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and Colorado's AD Rick George, he has said it's possible that their program could hold spring practice in May or in June. I think a June spring practice is more likely than July added practices running right into August 1st, because I'm not saying it would be everywhere, but somewhere it would get rather much to be out in the heat of late July rolling right into August camp instead of maybe having something in June. But clock's ticking. I mean, every passing day, Brent, it's really knocking on football's door.
I know it is, and there's no doubt about that. And, I mean, we're talking, again, a lot of folks drive down the interstate don't care, but we're also talking about media days in the middle of July. Now, guys, we've heard, and you can believe, a lot of these ADs now are looking at some different things, and we're looking at some unprecedented stuff, even with the schedule of, say, only playing conference games and not playing any non-conference games this year. I think at this point, almost anything is on the table as far as options are concerned, particularly if we're looking at a condensed season at this point, as to where, and again, you've got this, when we give the all clear, whenever that happens, if we have another uprising of this virus again, and we're having to shut things down the way we are now, man, that would really affect things. So I know we're speculating. That's what we do at times like this. But I've got to believe there are several different. Man, there's not just Plan B here. There's C, D, E, F, and G for that matter.
I believe now that we just seen the decree from the governor of the state of Tennessee, Bill Lee, who said now public schools in this state will be closed till April 24th.
Yeah.
And so he's convinced that we're not anywhere near normalcy until the end of April.
Agreed.
And so if you were talking about having a May or a June little bit of spring practice then, that's awfully quick. I just don't see how that could possibly happen. I could see how when you would normally come, when is fall camp normally? It's about a month before the first game, right? So we're talking
Say August 1. 1 or the first week of August, Dave.
Right. And so I could see where you would, the last week of July, extend that 7 to 10 days and allow for more practices because of the missing of spring football. The one thing, it's unfortunate, but maybe they just get a break, and life is this way. It's not always fair. But there are some schools.
Brent's point's a good one as far as the heat's concerned. Now, again, everybody's going to say, well, it's hot in August too, and it is, but they're probably going to have to take that into consideration. But from what I'm hearing down here, that they may be looking at something like that more than they would giving them 2 weeks in May or June at this point.
That I agree with. I think that is a little worrisome there, and it's unfortunate, but there will be some schools that actually already got spring practice days in. Would you say?
Yeah.
Arkansas State is one of those, and that'll be the first opponent for the University of Memphis. Do you say to them, well, you've already had 2 or 3 practices, so you don't get the same amount of extended fall camp that the other schools do? I don't know if that comes into play. Hey, you brought up a good point, too, about where you can only play conference games if this thing gets delayed a little bit more. But then you're also going to have some scheduling conflicts because there are some conferences that have already scheduled, second week where they're playing conference games now?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You've got all kinds of what that would do with Labor Day, and yes, and you've got some games that are earlier than normal that would be affected by this. So, guys, listen. Now, what if we don't get started till October 1 or something like that? We're just absolutely in unprecedented times, and I'm guessing there are a lot of different plans being discussed across the South and in the nation, for that matter, right now.
And Brent Scott Strickland, he told the truth last week. He laid it out matter-of-factly. I don't think being at all a stark-raving lunatic, it's not his style. He laid it out matter-of-factly. If there's no football, the trickle-down painful effect it's going to have in every athletics budget in the country will be something we can't imagine.
Oh, yeah. And listen, can you imagine, guys, not having the NCAA tournament and then not having a football season in the same year? I don't know how many years it would take to compensate for something of that nature, and Brent's right. Strickland is, he's not a doom and gloom guy, and he doesn't make these things up. So he just being realistic in laying some of this stuff out as far as where it may go. And guys, another thought about this too is you've got a lot of schools who are on the verge of, they're either in the middle of building, I know this is minor now, but of building facilities or had planned on breaking ground for building facilities and things of that nature that they need to keep up with the Joneses. And in situations like this, how long now is that going to be postponed?
I just do the math here, You talked about the NCAA tournament, and you're referring to almost $1 billion.
Yes.
That is divvied out, but a lot of different ways. It is divvied out to all 330 Division I schools. It is divvied out in a certain respect to conference offices. It is divvied out to Division II. It is divvied out to Division III, where you're really talking about, say, $30 to $40 million per school, somewhere in there, that the power conferences get just from football television revenue, let alone not selling a ticket or a concession. But you're talking $30 to $40 million that 85-90% of that comes from their football.
Mm-hmm.
That would be crippling to those Power 5 schools. That they would lose so much income. It would then be a trickle-down effect. It would be disastrous for all the programs within that particular conference and their schools, and for the teams that are relying this year on getting revenue from buy games, those smaller conference schools that are going to get $2 million to go play Alabama, all of a sudden that's no longer in their budget.
Yeah,
right. It is a economic disaster.
Well, and guys, think about this real quick too. And I know we're a little bit away, but yet we're not. Again, we're very close to redoing all these TV contracts. We're looking at what to do with the playoffs and all these things coming up by the middle of the decade. And if this delays that, or it has us look at this in another way, and are they going to try to pass this loss of revenue more onto the fans? Do the fans revolt with this? And again, we're not being doom and gloom here altogether, but I mean, there are just a lot of layers to look here with all this stuff, is it not?
No doubt. And one other thing that we've learned about that'll probably be in every contract from here on out, the term force majeure. We'll know what that means now.
We will, Dave, and it could get down to where the SEC may have to go back to CBS and say, we're very sorry, we would love to stay with you.
Hey, would that attitude change then, Brett?
Money usually does it.
It does, doesn't it? There's no question about that. Yes, yeah. But they may be, Brett, and Dave, they may be thinking, you know what? Maybe that situation looks a little more attractive now than it did a few weeks ago.
It does. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We'll have to wait and see on all that, though. It's still so much up in the air, so much uncertainty.
Yes.
We really just don't know. As always, we appreciate you chatting with us, and we'll talk to you again next week. Brent, stay healthy.
Look forward to it, guys. Thanks so much.
Our friend in Jacksonville, that is Brent Beard. We take a timeout. When we come back, this will be fun. We're going to chat with John St. Clair, a Memphian who's been an NCAA basketball referee for a lot of years. We'll talk a little bit about officiating the game, rule changes he'd like to see get made. That's next on Sportstime on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Weekdays from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Make your day smoking with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic never rusts, and the easy, accurate temperature control gives you the greatest range of any grill. Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Available at these nearby locations: Hamilton Fireplace Shop, 4462 Summer Avenue; Germantown Hardware Company, 2083 South Germantown Road; Garden Spas and Pool, 9393 Poplar Avenue; and East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road.
Hilo Commercial Services can help protect your workplace and employees. Call Hilo Commercial Services today to help mitigate the dangerous effects of the coronavirus and the flu virus. Hilo offers complete deep cleaning and sanitizing services for schools, churches, medical facilities, office buildings, residential, warehouses, and more, all customized to your needs. Put safety first with Hilo Commercial Services. Call Philip right now at 901-277-6733. 901-277-6733. It's time for Hilo Commercial Services.
Hi, friends. I'm Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Jewelers, and for 5 decades, we've been the personal jeweler to thousands of Memphians and Mid-Southerners. For many, many years, we have been offering the finest and beautiful jewelry to help our customers celebrate those very special occasions and let their loved ones know just how treasured they are. Diamonds and the finest gemstones are our specialty. Set in whatever she wants, a ring or pendant, a pair of earrings, or a bracelet. We search the world's finest jewelry markets looking for pieces that are not only exquisite and beautiful, but that are also unique and eye-catching. We can help you make her smile in a way that neither one of you will ever forget. Come see us at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Let us put our many years of experience to work for you. Let us help you say, I love you in the most wonderful way you can imagine. 5 decades providing beauty, value, quality, and service. Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Please listen, this is important. Anyone can be affected by the prescription opioid crisis. If you think you've been hurt by Purdue or its prescription opioids like OxyContin, You may be entitled to compensation as part of Purdue's bankruptcy, but you have to file a claim. Claims may include overdose, death, substance use disorder, lost wages, and neonatal abstinence syndrome. A confidential claim can be filed by individuals, a legal guardian, by survivors or relatives of people who have died or are disabled. The deadline to file a claim is June 30th, 2020, or you will lose your right to file a claim. For more information, visit PurduePharmaClaims.com, or you can call toll-free 1-844-217-0912. That's 1-844-217-0912. Paid for by Prime Clerk, LLC.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Wolo and Stats with you. Wolo in the Flynn Broadcasting Center. By the way, I should point out the news today came out with keeping in line with what Mayor Strickland asked. Family Leisure will be closing as of 6 o'clock tonight for a couple of weeks. So Family Leisure, we're still sitting in the studios, but Family Leisure will be out now of pocket. They're going to extend that sale they had this month. They're going to extend that into April now. And if you hadn't heard, Governor Lee, while we've been on the air, has now decreed that there will not be school until April the 24th. Public schools around the state of Tennessee now closed until April the 24th. In the meantime, our show carries on. We're here. We'll always give you the latest with whatever we can find on the coronavirus story. And we also just chat about sports. And I bring in a good friend of mine, John St Clair, who has been a long time referee in the NCAA, years. And John, I just wanted to sort of let's just start with, I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy and your family is doing well. But has this coronavirus affected, other than the tournaments and stuff, do you think it's affected anything in the near future here, like camps or anything of that nature? Good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, Dave. Thanks for having me on with you and Stats today. I appreciate the opportunity. It's rare that a referee gets to speak and be heard, so usually you guys are yelling at us, so thanks for the opportunity. I think in the officiating world, it's much like it is everywhere, right? I mean, the season came to an abrupt end. We literally were told, catch the next flight home and stay healthy. We've already seen that Adidas, which is the camp situation that I was lined up to go to, I think it was in Louisville in late April, that's already been postponed. We were told that they hope to reschedule. And when they reschedule, the trickle-down effect of that is that they expect us to be there. So you know as well as anybody that college basketball in general has been abruptly ended, and it has a tremendous trickle-down effect for all of us.
Just how did it
Where were you, John?
Yeah.
I was I was working two tournaments, and I had just finished a game in Houston and had to drive back. Had the late game in Houston, finished up there, and was driving back to Dallas for a game the next day. And I was slated to do, I think they had me set up to do the Conference USA tournament with, I believe I had UAB in Western Kentucky, and we were getting ready for that game. And literally got an email, said, unfortunately, the rest of the games have been canceled. Catch the next flight home, stay healthy. I mean, literally, that's how the season ended for most of the officiating community.
Crazy, and it just comes in an email, and there's no way around that. And already you see that camps that I guess are really where you train new referees coming up, right? They're canceled. How do you think that'll affect?
Well, I kind of allude to the camp system as almost CE for officials. So, yes, it's an identification area where some young officials can come in and really sort of get some in-depth training. And there's different levels of those camps that exist. It doesn't matter which boss you're working for. That they have different levels of camps, and some of them are just straight identification, where you find a lot of high school officials that hope to crack into either small college or large college, and they have their sets of camps they can come to. And then there are other camps that you can attend that are by invitation only, where a lot of times the heads of these conferences are there kind of teaching you some of the finer points of how to be a crew chief, some of the more details that are involved when you're running a crew for a Division I men's basketball game.
Speaking of which, if there's a young person listening, or a dad who has a kid that loves sports, that maybe is thinking that his kid be a good referee, how does somebody in this day and age become a ref to get to where you are now doing 50 college basketball games over a winter's time?
Well, so first of all, I'll correct you. No one thinks anybody does a good job at officiating. So even the dad for his own son or daughter doesn't think they do a good job. Yeah. So it's the only job I've ever had that you're supposed to start perfect and improve from there. So when you understand that that's the baseline, I mean, I think what was true when I first got started is still true today, and that is, honestly, I got started locally with the Memphis Park Commission and doing church league basketball. Yep. And I would just tell anyone who's remotely interested in this, they need bodies. They need and want people to officiate those games. And for me, I started doing it when I was in college. I played baseball in college, so I couldn't have a full-time job and play college sports. So my off-season baseball was basketball season, and I thought I'd hit the lottery because I was able to work the nights that I wanted to. I could go in and officiate, 2 games a night and walk out of there with maybe $40 cash money. And for a college kid, I was loaded. And from doing that, you just start being noticed. I can remember standing in the middle of the infield when I was playing baseball, and one of the baseball umpires said, "Hey, St Clair," and I was shocked he knew my name. I said, "Yes, sir. We're waiting on a pitching change." And he says, "I hear you're doing a little basketball." I said, "Well, yes, sir." He said, "Would you like to make more money?" I said, "Well, sure." He said, "Would you like to work better games?" I said, "Sure." "Would you like to work with better people?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Meet me in left field after the game." And turned out that was Mark McDonald, and he was the head of the local association here in Memphis for high school.
Sure.
And he kind of took me under his wing and got me started. And I started doing the B League for basketball. So that'd be the JV games before the varsity games at night. And so there's just a progression there where the talent level is not real deep in officiating. And so if you do well, you're going to stand out, and they are going to promote you, and you're going to get the next level of assignment if you put some effort into it, and try to learn the rules, learn the mechanics, and learn how to manage a lot of different personalities and a lot of different things that are going on out there. And so what was true for me when I got started 25, 30 years ago would be true today. That's where you get started. And the local association for the TSSAA is run by a man by the name of Bill Arata, and our good friend Steve Wynette is another one of the members that runs that. And I would just encourage anyone who wants to go down that path and entertain the thought of officiating at the high school level, the JV level, freshman basketball. That's how you get started, and that's what it takes. You have to get experiences. There is no replacement for experience. But as you get experience, and as you handle those experiences, there's promotion within the officiating community.
Let me ask you a little bit about some of the rules the way they are. They put that little circle in there to make it easier for you to call the charge and the block. Has that worked, or is that still the hardest call that you have to make in the game?
Well, I think it's one of the harder calls to make in the game. The arc is it's a tool. I think it has forced. It has forced the officiating community to do what they've asked us to do for years, and that is referee the defense. Find out where the defender is. And if you think about when you're watching TV, and many officials, especially younger officials, they're watching the ball. They're watching where the action is. And the reality is, on that block charge play, what a official is trained to do is find the defender. And if you start with finding the defender and you start from the feet up, I remember when they put this rule in, and they started drawing the first arc on the floor, it happened to be at the same time that the NBA officials were going through a lockout or whatever their issue was. And so Michael Smith, who is one of the legends here in Memphis from an officiating standpoint, been in the NBA, for 30 years. I was able to spend some time with him during that off season, albeit on the golf course, but I was able to spend some time with him, and I just asked him, I said, how do you referee that play? What are they teaching at the NBA level? And I just remember him saying, referee the defense first, start from the feet up, and the rest of it will kind of take care of itself. And so when you train yourself to do that, it makes that play easier. It's not an easy play, but it makes it easier. And I don't know that arc did a whole lot except take away the play where you had a 5-foot guard and a 7-footer coming down the middle, and the 5-foot guard just goes and stands literally underneath the basket and waits to get crashed into. I mean, I don't see that play as often anymore in basketball, and that's one they needed to get out. So that arc being out there, that's probably something that did, in fact, help the game.
It just is maybe my imagination, but I do, and it makes total sense when you tell me that you look for the defensive guy, because I would say since that arc came in, and especially in the last 2 years, it seems if there's any contact made and that defender is outside that circle, that arc, that call is an offensive foul call. You probably have these numbers, but to me, the percentage of offensive fouls called now versus blocks from the past, it seems to me it has surpassed now to the offensive call.
Well, I think my comment on that is, number one, I don't really have any idea what the statistics would be, but I think what has changed more so, of course, when Cal was here, locally we understand there's this whole dribble drive thing, right? I mean, they're either shooting threes or they're taking it to the bucket.
Right.
And so because of that, you have a lot more opportunity for maybe block charge plays and for offensive players to come barreling down the lane from really all angles. They come from the elbow, they come down the middle. And there's just a lot more of that. And so when the defender gets outside that arc and is standing there, maybe there are more offensive fouls, but I think more than anything else, there's more opportunity for offensive fouls just because of the way the game is being played and the offenses are being run these days.
Last thing,
and John,
I wanted
to ask just a few questions, John. And bear in mind, you're all human beings. You make mistakes, but there's with no intent. I know you do not want to impact the result of a game, other than just calling balls and strikes, just calling it as you see it. But I want to run through some things. I think I know the answer, but I just want to run through some things.
Sure.
There's nowhere in the rule book that both teams should shoot the same number of foul shots, is it?
Absolutely
free
not.
throws. And there's nowhere in the rule book that the same number of fouls should be called on each team, is it?
Absolutely not.
And that's one of the most mind-numbing things to me from fans and from and some in media, that they think there should be 20 fouls called on this team and 20 on the other one. It would be inherently unfair if one was fouling more to call the same amount.
Well, to your point, Stats, I mean, one of the easiest ways of understanding that is, let's take a team that plays zone, right? Typically, when a team is playing zone, one of them's playing zone and one of them's playing man-to-man. I mean, the fact that you are playing zone, number one, it's forcing a lot of outside shots if it's being played well. And number two, there just typically is not the same number of foul opportunities in a zone defense as there is if you're playing man-to-man and dribble drive, right? When you're in a zone, you are essentially saying, we're not going to let you dribble drive. You're going to have to shoot over the top of us when it's played well. And so you could end up having 8 fouls on one end and 3 on the other, and the average fan says, well, it's not an equal game. You're penalizing us versus them, or vice versa. And so absolutely not. And today, in today's game, one of the biggest things we have is HD TV, right? And so they are making this, and I think this is across all sports, but for years, officiating at all levels, but especially the Division I men, and I think the NBA level, the officiating is an art. There's an art to being able to run a game. Unfortunately, with HD TV and replay and slow-mo and frame by frame, they're making it a science.
Yeah,
and
almost
so
impossible for y'all.
It is. There's a lot of scrutiny. And it's greater now than it has ever been. It will continue to increase as we go. And we understand that. But literally, a lot of younger officials are coming in, and when we say in the I guess industry, they're trying to beat the tape, right? They're trying to get every call exactly the way it is on tape. You go, that's great. That's what they're supposed to do. Well, to go back to that block charge play, there's a lot of block charge plays that if you really broke it down, it might be 51% offensive foul and 49% defensive foul. Like, it might be really close, right? Really, really close. And the official comes out of there with, like Dave said, an offensive foul. Well, let's say you go to the other end of the floor, and it's 49% offensive foul and 51% defensive foul. But you just had an offensive foul on the other end of the floor. What does everybody in the country say to do? What does everybody say the country to do? Make
it even, baby. Make it even.
Make it equal. It's consistency, right? Consistency.
Right. Which is stupid. Yeah.
Which is great. Okay, that's wonderful. Except now, let me take you through the officiating community. So you go, you know what, I just had that 51-49 down there, and this might be 49-51, but let's just, out of consistency, let's go offensive foul. And before you can get out of the shower after the game, you're getting a link sent to you from the commissioner, from the supervisor, from whoever, and they're saying, hey, listen, you probably missed this second play here because, technically he didn't have both feet on the floor facing the defender, and while it's a tough play, you probably missed it. And people don't understand this. We're graded on almost every game we do.
Every play.
So that goes down as an incorrect call. You go, but wait a second now. If I'm doing it by the science, I put the foul on the defender. But you go, well, that's not consistent. So the younger officials are caught right now in coming in and saying, well, I called an offense on this end, and I'm calling a defense on this end because I'm right on the tape. And my score is going to be higher than John St. Clair, who maybe the art of the game is out of consistency. Everybody in America would want you to go offense on one end and offense on the other. And there's an art to officiating. There has been. And as you said a moment ago, Stats, it is almost an impossible situation with the level of scrutiny, with the ability of these cameras and this slow-mo and zoom in. And it is a very difficult thing to do. It's not impossible, but by and large, I think that the officiating community does a really, really good job on most nights, on most games throughout the country.
John, I could talk to you all day. I want to know what rules you want to change, but we're out of time. We'll do this again.
We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, we will. We will. Thank you, my friend.
Sounds great, guys.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
John St. Clair, also known as my partner on the golf course. John St. Clair on officiating.
You need to be nicer to referees.
I'm very nice to referees when they're right. When they're right. We got to take a break. When we come back, Tom Powers, who is one of the owners of Flight, Southern Social, Coastal Fish Company, and Porch and Parlor, that new steakhouse in Overton Square. He's got some new ideas about curbside delivery and what they're going to do. We're going to find out what's going on in that department in a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Soul Fish Cafe has done something that no other business in the history of Memphis has ever done. They won 3 different categories in the Memphis Most. They want it for the best catfish. We all know that's the best catfish, and you can get it fried like everybody does, or you could get it, if you wanted to, grilled or blackened. It's the best. Everybody says it. Then there's seafood. We know about their beautiful shrimp. You can get those fried. You can get them grilled. The shrimp tacos are terrific. Memphis Most, best seafood. Then there's soul food. Yes, a third category, soul food. Their veggies are unbelievable. They've got this sauerkraut sausage Cajun dish that is amazing. I love the cucumber salad. Everything is always so fresh. And now, you know, there's 3 locations with a 4th one coming to Wolf Chase soon. The original Cooper Young, the Shops of Forest Hill Irene, and, of course, the newest in East Memphis. That's on Poplar, just east of Perkins in the old Wolf Camera location. They're the best. You said it. They're Soulfish.
Hi, it's me, your nose. I'm so congested. Use the Vicks Sidex nasal spray, would you? Mouth breather. Yeah, the Vicks Sidex nasal spray starts working in seconds and lasts for up to 12 hours.
I can breathe again. Vicks Sinex nasal spray is incredible. I feel like a whole new nose. Oh, let's buy a new car so we can smell it. Oh, we're really breathing now.
For nasal congestion relief, get Vicks Sinex and breathe freely fast. Use as directed.
I'm John Conway with Conway Services. Is your home's main sewer line backed up? Do you have multiple plumbing fixtures in your home backing up? Better call Conway Services for our $99 main drain opening special with accessible cleanout. We'll come out and open your home's main drain for only $99. And if it should clog again over the next year, we'll come back and open it again for free. Springtime is the time of the year when tree roots start growing, and many of them find their way right into your sewer line. We'll come and inspect your main sewer line using our state-of-the-art Root-O-Vision camera system, all for only $99. That's right, Conway Services' $99 main drain opening special with accessible cleanout and a camera inspection. Trust the Rooter experts at Conway Services for all your drain and sewer needs. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. Your neighborhood Rooter experts.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Cruising through our second hour. And, you know, we are trying to bring you the latest in what is going on within the community. And just so you know, April 24th now is the new date. Public schools will be open. The governor, Bill Lee, has decreed now schools stay closed. Public schools in the state of Tennessee, including Shelby County, now are off until April the 24th. We're all sort of stuck in. We're always looking for new things, and that gets me to my friend Tom Powers, whose group owns Flight, Southern Social, Coastal Fish Company, and Porch and Parlor. That's the new steakhouse in Overton Square. These are all unbelievable.
We love them all.
All blue chip for sure. No doubt about that. Tom, how are you doing? How's your family holding up?
We're doing well. Everyone's making the best of the situation that they can in our family. My kids and wife are on the teleconference school today, so they're doing their part to keep learning during this time, and we're doing everything we can at the restaurants to be here for the community during this time. We're planning on keeping all 4 restaurants open for curbside and delivery service throughout the duration of the in-restaurant dining shutdown, which now includes wine and beer delivery. I never thought that would be the case, but thanks to Governor Lee, now we can offer a wine pairing along with the delivery of food every night. So it's a great option for those of us hanging out at home with our loved ones to make it a little more fun during this time.
That's amazing, because the choice at Flight, I mean, are you offering all those things that you do flights with?
Absolutely.
Wow.
We're every night we're having folks come pick up curbside with their steak flight, fish flights to go. And we also have our full library of wine selections available. So
that's great.
It's something that I thought we would never. 2 weeks ago, I would have said we would never consider it, and have learned that we need to be flexible on day-to-day basis. So
Tom,
we're adapting and doing the best we can.
Tom, there's a lot of things 2 weeks ago we didn't think we'd be doing today.
Right. Absolutely.
When you've been dreaming up new things and you guys are so innovative, I mean, look, the whole thing of flight, that's taken all over the country. People are trying to emulate what you've done. Southern Social was your next entity. I know you had no idea when you opened up these next two, the Coastal Fish Company and just opened Porch and Parlor, that you would be in these kind of circumstances, but you guys are innovative. So what are you doing now to try to drive more business?
Well, along with the curbside and delivery within your zone at each location, we kind of have all corners of the metro covered. We've got Flight downtown, Porch and Parlor in Midtown on Overton Square, Coastal Fish Company in East Memphis, and then Southern Social, heart of Old Germantown. So we've pretty much got a spot wherever you are in the city where you can come pick up curbside, and it's not too far of a drive, and a lot of delivery zones cover most of the area. But a couple of really special things that I'm excited about, that had in mind for probably 6 months to the next year, are at Coastal Fish Company. We have rolled out yesterday Coastal Fish Market, which this was in the works and in development. The time frame just got pushed up a few months. So we're offering the freshest, highest quality seafood in town, but now it can be delivered to your door. So we have portioned fish fillets, and the offerings are updated every morning on the website. So today we have Florida grouper, Chilean sea bass, speckled trout, got royal red shrimp that just came in today. So we've got a lot of offerings that you can either call and pick up the same day, or if you call in advance, we'll deliver it to your house with a minimum delivery.
So call for pickup a day in advance. But delivery you can do, but you really better get in early, I suspect.
So you can either come on site and the market is on site at Coastal Fish Company in Shelby Farms, or you can call and place your order and we'll have it ready for you that day. Or if you'd like it delivered to your house, if you call a day ahead of time,
okay,
we can schedule the delivery and have it brought to you.
You're also doing something that I thought was really neat, and we know that servers, bless their hearts, they're the ones that are really hurting the most. You are putting together some sort of a gala in all your restaurants to help them out in the end?
That's right. We have scheduled VIP grand reopening parties at each restaurant for whatever time we're all clear to reopen. The date will be announced at that point in time. The tickets are available now on each of our websites. So you can follow the links on the websites to Eventbrite to purchase the tickets. But all revenues and proceeds from these parties will go to help support our employees during this time now when the restaurants are shut down and can't work.
So in other words, if I give now, you'll give that money, even though it's not going to be really applied for me until after this is over. But I'm giving the money in advance because you're going to give that money to the waiters and the servers that really need that now.
Exactly. So it comes at a really nice time. We thought this was something that we had an opening party for Flight 11 years ago, and it was an amazing night, a whole lot of fun. And we didn't have the opportunity to have any of those parties at Southern Social, Coastal, or Porch and Parlor. So this is a way that we can circle back. And I think when we get to the other side of this, we're all going to be looking for a nice evening of celebration.
We need a party.
So,
no doubt.
Right.
Tom, go ahead.
The plan is to have these all on 4 separate nights. So we actually have some very generous folks that have purchased parties for each 4 of the restaurants. So they'll be scheduled on 4 different nights. So it's going to be a really fun week.
Fantastic.
I can't wait.
I can't wait for the party, that is for sure. Tom Powers, we thank you. We'll be talking about all your new stuff over the next few days. Flight, Southern Social, Coastal Fish Company, and that brand new steakhouse, which I have not been to. I've been to every one of these others many times. But Porch and Parlor.
We need to schedule it up soon.
Yes, we do. We need an R&D. Thank you, Tom. Stay well. Please, stay well.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Brett. Take care, guys.
Tom Powers. And that's 2 hours in the books. When we come back, our good friend Beau Marchant. There's still plenty of NFL to really talk about and to dig into, including this new thing about Deshaun Watson to New England. Could that really be the case? You know Bo knows. We're back in a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
I'm Dr. George Flynn with the Skin Clinics. In order to do our part to flatten the curve of the spread of the coronavirus, the Skin Clinics is postponing all elective procedures until further notice. This is an unprecedented time in the United States and in the world. The news and data are changing by the hour. We at the Skin Clinics are following the situation closely, and we will once again be scheduling procedures when we're confident we can do so with your safety in mind. Remember to wash your hands, and as our staff has been telling you for a long time, stop touching your face. Thank you for your continued trust, and when we begin to schedule procedures again, we will have extended hours for your convenience. I'm Dr. George Flynn saying, please take care of yourself, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Make your day smoking with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic never rusts, and the easy, accurate temperature control gives you the greatest range of any grill. Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Available at these nearby locations: Hamilton Fireplace Shop, 4462 Summer Avenue; Germantown Hardware Company, 2083 South Germantown Road; Garden Spas and Pool, 9393 Poplar Avenue; and East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in our number 3 of the program. Bo Marchand's going to join us in a minute. I'll let you know we're up again a little bit, 135 now. Cases in Shelby County, 176 in the metro area. So really nothing has gotten any larger in this county. in the last couple of hours, I'm happy to say. That is for sure. 667 cases now in the state of Tennessee in the United States. Last time I looked, we had, well, it's gone up, 51,542. If you don't know, the governor of the state of Tennessee has now asked for schools throughout the state, all the Shelby County schools included, to remain closed through at least Friday, April the 24th. So you wouldn't be going back to school until the 27th if that happens, and we'll have to wait and see on that. It's really to be determined until further notice when these schools will open, but we know that won't be before April the 27th. That is for sure. Arlington has said the same thing now. Collierville has announced extended school closures as well. So did Lakeland. So all the areas are now abiding by what the governor is asking, to close schools until April the 27th would be the first day they would be able to go, because it's through the 24th.
We visit with Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com about the NFL after I tell you about DeSoto Auto Sales, sponsor of this hour. All the cars test-driven and checked out from head to toe at DeSoto Auto Sales with an unlimited inventory, every make, every model, down on Goodman Road at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. Check out the referrals online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. You walk in DeSoto Auto Sales and you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, but they do care about your time now more than ever, but they always have at DeSoto Auto Sales, and they want you to have the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive your car, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in time to do it over your lunch hour or immediately after work. At 5704 Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales, DeSotoAutoSales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County to DeSoto Auto Sales for that town and country experience.
Bo Marchant, we actually have a lot to talk with you about. It became official. We got TB to TB, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady in there now. But here's the newest story today. Tell me if you think this will really happen. Deshaun Watson leaving Texas in a deal to go to New England to be the successor to Tom Brady. Could that really happen, Bo?
I don't think it could happen. I don't think it would happen. Bill O'Brien has caught enough slack for trading DeAndre Hopkins to Arizona for picks and David Johnson. So I don't see him trading a franchise type quarterback to a team that he used to coach with. I'd be shocked, put it that way. I don't see it happening. Bill Belichick has a way of getting what he wants, but this time I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening.
Were you and I were both of the same opinion that Brady would end up out of New England, but I don't think any of us could have seen Tampa Bay. Are you convinced this, in the 2-year window he's got, that Tampa's got enough talent? And I'm not putting Arians down because I love Bruce Arians, but I don't see a Super Bowl in 2 years. Do you?
I do not. I was shocked, like you said. I mean, we were both on cue where we didn't think he would return to New England, but Los Angeles Chargers was the team I thought. But Tampa came out of nowhere. They kind of got hot late, and they were able to sign and bring him in.
They thought they had him. They thought they had him the whole time. Bruce Arians is kind of spiking the ball, thinking he laid in the tall grass and seized on him.
It happened, but and it's funny, I was down at the combine when he was at the podium, and when I was there when he was asked the question, and it was you didn't think nothing of it. He said I'd call Tom Brady, and you just wonder, not so much a tampering thing, but how serious they were back in February with we're going to make a run at this guy. We're going to do everything possible to bring Tom Brady into this franchise. And they said when he said it, you just kind of thought, just him, Bruce Arians has a charismatic, personality. He's always cracking jokes. You just kind of laughed with it. But, lo and behold, there was probably an underlining truth to that, and he knew a lot more than he was letting on. But at the end of the day, they got him. No, I don't think Tampa becomes, they become better. But on the flip side, I mean, I think Brady's going to have a huge year. I think he's going to follow like Manning did going to Denver. But, a year from now, another year older, then we'll see what happens. But I think offensively, they're going to put up a ton of points. But they put up a ton of points with that last year. I mean, they had turnovers, but they still were a potent offense. So, I mean, Brady's going to have a potent offense. It's just a matter how much that defense can help. And granted, I know, the 30 interceptions and the pick sixes by Winston hurt them and turned the win and loss column. But even if you change some of those games in the win, you're talking about an 8-8 team, 9-7 at best. You're really not looking at them as being this fierce foursome, in the NFC South who, Atlanta looks improved. We know the Saints are as good as anybody out there. Carolina's finding their way almost in a rebuilding process. So with all that said, I don't think Tampa is a Super Bowl team, and I don't think he gets back with that team. But then again, it's hard. I don't know if, even if he would have went to Los Angeles, I mean, does he really put them over the top? Can they get back to the Chiefs in the AFC West? It's just a lot to ask for.
Back to the Deshaun Watson thing, though. If I were starting a team with a new quarterback, one of the young guns, Patrick Mahomes is number one. Probably Russell Wilson for me is number two. I'm thinking Lamar Jackson.
Is Russell that young though? Is he really fit in this criterion, David?
He may be a little bit older, but how old? What is he? 30? He's still got 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, it's not Drew Brees.
World, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's not Drew Brees. It's not Tom Brady.
It's not Phillip Rivers. That's true.
Not Phillip Rivers. So I'd put him in there, and I'd put Deshaun Watson. Those would be my four. I mean, I could understand why a team trying to plug into place a piece that could be as valuable as Tom Brady. He'd be one of the guys I think I'd go after. I don't blame the Krafts or Belichick for going after this guy as hard as they may be.
Yeah, the only way that he would be out is if he's so disgruntled with the way the Hopkins thing went out. But, I mean, teams are teams. There's things that they do. There's internal, things are working out. And from the outside, it does look crazy. But there's always a reason they do everything. And I know Bill O'Brien didn't wake up that day and say, hey, I want to make the Texans worse. I want to have we want to go in the season worse than we are. Do they get better without Hopkins?
No.
Probably not. Or, they don't get better. But, then again, there is an idea. We don't know what it is. And sometimes it takes the draft or there's other maneuvers that are going to come down the line. I don't see you mentioned, you're talking about a top 3, top 5 quarterback in terms of youth and potential and talent. Why would you move them to this team that's kind of dominated the league for 2 decades? And then you're back to what? Now you're scrambling to find a guy. And as much as I love covering the draft and as much as the draft is, you can find nobody's a lock. Nobody's 100% guaranteed.
Joe Burrow's
Everybody
not.
can be I'm sorry?
Joe Burrow's not.
Small hands,
Well,
Brett.
I mean,
Small hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks blue chip, but again, I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it takes a lot it does, I mean, we think about it, but at the end of the day, you just don't know until they really suit up, put the helmet on, and go play in the National Football League. They're all great in college. They're all great, and that's why they're on the NFL radar. But at the end of the day, I mean, when you really go back and you look at all the guys that come through the draft and how many really never live up to that potential, especially quarterback. I mean, it's a tough road to follow.
The easy bet is to bet no. That's the easy bet on anything, to be Dr. No. But if Joe Burrow makes it and the Bengals don't draft him, the Browns should have to relinquish that team like Donald Sterling did the Clippers.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any question that that's what they're going to do. And Joe looks like a fantastic talent. I would be shocked, if he doesn't turn out to be a very, very, good quarterback, a Pro Bowl type caliber quarterback. But again, at the end of the day, you don't know. It's, there's so many, variables that go into it. And, and then we'll talk about it years from now. I mean, how many times did we bring up, Patrick Mahomes and Mitchell Trubisky? I mean, all the,
Did you have to say that? Did you have to
bring
that up?
And traded for it. Traded up for it.
I had to. Did. Well, listen, when they signed Nick Foles, I immediately texted Brett. I got to hear what Dave thinks about this.
First off, the best example of you don't really know is Tom Brady. He was 199th
Bingo,
guy
Dave.
taken.
End of discussion. End of all-time discussion. Number 199. Bo, I've done it. Go back and look at every 199 player since Tom Brady was drafted. I think one one has made a team, much less made a name, much less became the greatest quarterback in the history of the sport.
And just don't forget, there were a lot of people that thought Ryan Leaf was a better quarterback than Peyton Manning coming out of college.
That's right.
So there is
Yeah.
no
That was a
guarantee.
50-50.
Yeah, there's no
Hey,
guarantee.
hey guys, let spirit of full disclosure. I like confession's good for the soul. I remember the Rick Myra Drew Bledsoe discussion,
man.
and on these airwaves, I was saying I'd take Rick Myra because I know that competition at Notre Dame's been better than that at Washington State. Yeah, I said that.
That one I thought a little bit more comfortable, like 50-50. I was never a Leaf guy. I didn't think he would be as bad as he turned out to be, but I was really I never could put Leaf in the same atmosphere, stratosphere, if you were, with Peyton Manning. I just thought this was kind of foolish. But again, it happens. I mean, every year. But I mean, you think about the Steelers. Jonathan Dwyer was their first 6th round pick the year that they took Antonio Brown, and then the Steelers took Antonio Brown with their second 6th round pick. So he wasn't even good enough to be their first 6th round pick. So it is. Talent can be found anywhere. It's, you got to do your due diligence and hope. Again, you got to hope for the best. But again, if you can get lucky in the late rounds, it could change your fortunes very quickly.
Let me give you another great example, and we could be seeing this again. I'm not sure because we don't really know. But Kurt Warner, he couldn't make it, and he had to go through the doggone Arena Football League, and was a cashier at Kroger before he finally caught on. And now we have Matt Rule going to the XFL to get his former quarterback, P.J. Walker, who was the best quarterback in the XFL this past year. I mean, we may find another guy that way. It's crazy where you find talent.
Yeah.
It is, and that's the fun part. And it goes back to, doing the draft stuff. And either way, I talked to so many different I talked to first round guys, and I talked to guys from these, out of your, schools that you never even heard of. But you got to treat all these guys the same because you just don't know who's going to hit or miss. And, you can get a pretty good idea. Joe Burrow's going to probably have a heck of a better shot at making it than, this kid. But at the end of the day, you just never know. And that's the fun part about it. We can reflect back on all these crazy picks and look where these guys were drafted and think about, everything. But at the end of the year, it's fun. That's what the draft's about. This season, I mean, this is my favorite year. You got free agency and the draft. You got movement. You got, changing the helmets and logos for these guys and changing the fortunes of franchises with these maneuvers. And this season, like no other, you guys know this. All the quarterbacks, this carousel of big names changing, and you got Cam Newton being released today. I mean, what's he have left, and where does he go? I mean,
that's a good question.
Franchise-type guy.
What's he got left? What's he got left?
I don't know.
What's Cam got left?
What do you think, Bo?
Yeah,
he got to get healthy.
I talked to some guys that cover the Panthers when I was down at the Combine, and they said they weren't sure how healthy he was, before he even missed basically half the year this past year. So, and they weren't derogatory towards Cam, but they really did question his health. I'm not saying he's washed up or done, but it's definitely a concern. And I think you could probably realize that with, Carolina doing the maneuvers that they did is, Matt Rule, I think if he thought he had a healthy Cam Newton moving forward as a rookie coach, you probably want to go in that direction. But at the end of the day, they probably thought it was best just in terms of salary and health, just kind of go in another direction and kind of start a rebuilding process.
When Cam is healthy, we know what he can do. And Dave, I go back to that 1 year in the SEC at Auburn, and I think it's the greatest individual single 1 year in the history of the SEC and of college football. He was a one-man dynamo, and when he was healthy in the NFL, he was the same way. MVP, led a team to a Super Bowl, and some of the shots he took by being such a big man, if he had been Baker Mayfield size or maybe even Kyler Murray size, a lot of those hits would have been penalties, and we might have moved faster on outlawing a lot of those hits that he had to endure because being a 6'6", 250-pound man. As Paul Hornung told me on Radio Row, Cam Newton was bigger than any of the defensive linemen he played with the Green Bay Packers.
That's true, but you just might have answered the real dilemma about taking a shot on Cam. Is how many of those hits has he taken over his career?
Right.
Will he be the same guy? Will he ever get back to the stage of being healthy? Now, I just want to know, because my man Bo has got smarts. You guys,
Drew, help me out here, Drew.
I question.
Whoa. What I do?
Come on, Dave.
Because Bo, when the Bears signed Nick Foles, they immediately said, "Oh, Trubisky's number 2."
What it says on ESPN.com right now, Dave.
But that's not what it says on the Bears website. Mitch was given Foles to get his act together. Don't you think, Bo? Isn't Mitch still the man?
I think so, but the leash is very short. I still think he gets a little bit. I still think they're harsh on him. But at the end of the day, I mean, Foles is not a good sign. But then again, I would have never signed Foles the way Jacksonville did. I thought that was just a mistake anyways. I mean, what Nick Foles and the Eagles were able to capture and everything that he was able to do with the Eagles, I think that was Eagle-specific success. I mean, I think when you take him outside that house, that team, that franchise, you're not going to get the same results. But I think at the end of the day, if Mitchell doesn't work out, he has to start off hot. I think he keep Foles on the bench. If that's not the case, Mitchell and Nick, I don't think are the answers. And then the Bears will have to go back to the well in the 2021 draft and find a quarterback.
There was a move yesterday also by the apparently cash-strapped. They're trying to make money so they can get Deshaun Watson. But they caught my man, Stephen Gostkowski. Will he get picked up anywhere?
Yeah, these guys could kick forever. Yeah, as long as he's healthy, yeah, he'll I think he'll find a house. And
gotta be healthy.
You back in the day, it seems like kickers were really, they were almost, they were about as firm as being on the team as the logo on the helmet. I mean, they just did not change teams. But now we see guys in and out. It's hard for me, and I cover the NFL. It's hard for me nowadays to just to say, hey, name all 32 kickers from 32 teams. I might get like 20. It's not that I don't know them.
It's hard.
These guys are just cut and swapped out. It's so much. He was like, I can't keep track, but I do think he is. And I tell you what it just, not to get off subject, but I mean, what New England with no Brady but like Kyle Van Noy left, Jamie Collins left, they cut Gronkowski. I mean, that is just going to be such a different team this year. And, we always kind of wonder when the end is coming. It's easy to say it now, and I don't think they're going to be some abysmal 3-13 team. But I just wonder if, these guys, would Collins and Kyle Van Noy and Brady all leave, and I wonder if just kind of like, the Patriot way has kind of lost its way a bit. And, it'll be hard to just kind of recapture that because, Belichick's Belichick, but then, the Brady effect, we heard about it in Tampa where guys want to come to Tampa now. They don't really, it kind of reveals to me that they might not have really wanted to go to New England to be with Belichick. They wanted to be there with Brady. Again, I don't know that, but again, it's going to be a very interesting offseason with all those new faces that they have to replace.
Hard one for you right now. Do they make the playoffs or not?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't either.
I gotta see if they make that Deshaun Watson deal before I say.
But that division, Bo,
the division, and don't forget, they still play defense.
Yeah, but
and they
don't
have Bill Belichick.
That's what scares me. They don't have Venora Collins. It's just and they're getting older. How great can Patrick Chung be? You know what I mean? I mean, he's been doing it for so long. That's where I get nervous. The holes in the what ifs are starting to outweigh what you already know about the Patriots, and that's when you start to get nervous. I mean, you're gonna have a second-year quarterback. Is he going to be the guy, or Cody Kessler, or Hoy? I mean, there's so many what ifs. The offense was bad last year. Now the best player on that offense is gone. You had these two stud linebackers. They're not there anymore. Man, it's going to be a crazy time. If anybody's going to be able to overcome it, it's none other than the legend Bill Belichick. But he's got a full plate to work with in terms of getting the Patriots back to what Patriot fans are going to be accustomed to seeing.
So let's go back full circle again to Cam Newton, and he's going to get another shot. Where does he end up? What team do you think takes a shot on Cam Newton?
I think Belichick would maybe take a shot. I think Cam has never been a turnover machine or anything like that. I mean, he does play small football.
He's not Jameis Winston, in other words.
No, he's not
Washington?
Jameis Winston. So I think he could live with a guy like Cam. If he has to, go that route. But at the end of the day, I think Los Angeles. Cam, no matter what, until you finally know what he is, I mean, he's still going to bring some excitement to a team. And I think Los Angeles, they're still looking for an identity. They were hoping to get Tom Brady. If Cam Newton, Tom Brady, no. But again, Cam Newton still has a little bit of pizzazz. There's not too many guys that could open up their chest and call themselves Superman, in the league. So if he's anywhere close to who we think he could be, then I think Los Angeles would be the best fit for him, just in terms of creating some buzz for that franchise that's needy of it.
Speaking of the Rams, real quick, with Gurley gone, will they give Darrell Henderson a real shot at that job, or are they going to try to find another back?
They took him in the 3rd round last year. That's a second-day pick, so I'm glad you brought that up. I think they have to give him a year to, find out. The only tricky thing with the running backs is they're all, devalued so much in the draft that, you can get this, Darrell Henderson. I mean, he's definitely at least a 2nd-round graded guy, but, these guys slip down in the draft. So draft day might happen where the Rams are sitting there in the 3rd round, and there's just, to say a Cam Akers from Florida State, it's just kind of, he's the best guy on your board. Why are you going to take a guy that's 15 slots lower? So that would be my only reasoning for the Rams to do that. But I think this is Henderson's shot. They took him last year, I think, with the ideology that, Gurley, we don't know where he's going to go, what's going to happen in the future, and we need this guy. So I do think this is going to be Henderson's year to kind of give him a try and see what they got.
Bo Marchand, collegetopro.com, our guy every week, right here, same time, forever. Thank you, Bo. We really appreciate it. Stay healthy, and we'll do this again, God willing, next week.
Yes, sir. You guys do the same. Stay blessed.
Thank you.
Bo Marchand. Always love chatting with him. See, he's grounded. He knows. He knows where Trubisky is in all of this.
Help me.
He is on top of it.
Come on, Dave. He's just trying to save your feelings.
He's
being nice.
I see.
He's a nice
That's what
man.
guests do. They be nice.
I see.
He sent us all those great pretzels at the holiday season.
Oh,
He's been
yeah.
nice to you.
Whew, those were
Boy,
hot.
Man, one would go a long way, wouldn't they?
Oh,
Woo,
I
they were
will
hot.
tell you this. Do not serve without something to drink.
Cold.
Cold and wet, for sure. This portion of the show brought to you by Soulfish. I drove by the one in my neck of the woods. That's Poplar, just east of Perkins in the old Wolf Cameron location, and they were doing a robust business of takeout. So we still are doing takeout at Soulfish Cafe. At least they were last night. I'm assuming that that'll be the case. I'll double check with Raymond and find out. But we've got 4 of those locations to get the best catfish or the best seafood. Great fried shrimp, or to get trout, or to get soul food, because they have unbelievable veggies and collard greens and the like, and they've got them in 4 locations now in the city of Memphis for you to go pick up and take out. The original in Cooper Young, the one I just mentioned in East Memphis, the one in Germantown, that's really on the Collierville border in the shops of Forest Hill Irene, and the newest one at the Wolf Chase Galleria right by it on Highway 64. Make it easy on yourself every night. Just go by to get the best fish going. That's at Soulfish. We're back in just a minute. We talked earlier in the day with our friend from Street Ministries, Ken Bennett, the great Ken Bennett. We'll replay that interview for you in just a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Tiger Hoops fans have something extra to look forward to this coming March. Not only is it tournament time, but it's the opening of the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace Museum.
After Finch's 2-pointer, Ronnie Robinson sank the shot that once again brought the 2 teams into a tie.
Come to the Pink Palace Museum this March and experience 100-plus years of Tiger men's and women's basketball, from their beginnings as the West Tennessee State Normal School to the present.
The Tigers are very much alive.
Don't miss the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace Museum, opening March 7th.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight. exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Hi, it's me, your nose. I'm so congested. Use the Vicks Sidex nasal spray, would you? Mouth breather. Yeah, the Vicks Sidex nasal spray starts working in seconds and lasts for up to 12 hours.
I can breathe again. Vicks Sinex nasal spray is incredible. I feel like a whole new nose. Oh, let's buy a new car so we can smell it. Oh, we're really breathing now.
For nasal congestion relief, get Vicks Sinex and breathe freely fast. Use as directed.
Now, a tournament flashback. Last year's West Region 1 seed Gonzaga dominated in its first 3 games.
Hachimura on the move, steps left, puts it over the left hand, banked it too strong. There's Brandon Clark flying in and slams it home. A flex and a fist pump in midcourt for Clark. The Gonzaga bench is on their feet. So are the Gonzaga fans.
The Zags look to be headed straight on to the Final Four, but Texas Tech would put an end to that plan in the Elite Eight.
From small updates to big projects, Lowe's has what you need and deals to help you save. Step up your flooring with 10% off Pergo laminate when you also purchase Pergo Gold underlayment. And see your home in a whole new light by shopping the latest decorative lighting styles. Don't want to install it yourself? No problem, because now you can get up to $70 off lighting installation. Whatever's on your to-do list today and every day, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 4/8 U.S. only.
I'm Dr. George Flynn with Flynn Broadcasting Company. The coronavirus situation is causing a lot of cancellation of events, schools, concerts, sporting events, and all kind of social gatherings. It's called social distancing. But you do not have to be distant mentally from everyone in the community because Flynn Broadcasting is with you. We love you. We want to make sure that you are connected and protected from the coronavirus. So keep listening to this Flynn Broadcasting Station. We'll keep you informed, we'll keep you in touch, and we'll keep you connected to your friends. So as soon as this situation is over, we can go back to our normal living. I'm Dr. George Flynn with Flynn Broadcasting Company saying we love our community, we love you as individuals, and we are committed to your well-being.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Cruising through our final hour here on this Tuesday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. It's brought to you in part by the F1 Insurance Group, which has gotten bigger because they've merged with the good folks at the Linder Insurance Group. At Linder, there's a guy who knows his stuff along with Matt. We're talking 300 years of combined insurance experience, locally owned and operated, going all the way back to 1955. With that kind of experience, they have an access to a multitude of A-rated carriers in home and auto, umbrella, small to mid-sized commercial accounts. That's right. They combine. They can do both personal or they can do business. And they're a service-first agency. They sit down with you. They evaluate home and life. And if it's personal, they get personal. And if it's business, they forecast out. What's the thing you need to protect most? They find the product, you are secure. If that's interesting to you, please call 757-2315. If you're a Tiger fan, a special number for you, 386-GER, 386-4777. That's the Eflin Insurance Group. Interesting, Athletic did a poll. 7 guys drafted basically. If you had a choice and you were stuck with a coach for the next 10 years in college football, who would you take? We're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow and go over the candidates. Some surprising, I thought, placement by these 7 guys. We'll get into that tomorrow. In the meantime, a little bit earlier today, we had a chance to catch up with one of the finest men I think I know in the city of Memphis. He is a caring guy. He is the head of Street Ministries, and here is our discussion a little bit earlier with the great Ken Bennett. Ken Bennett from Street Ministries. Ken takes some of his time out today to join us, and we truly appreciate that. Ken, how are you doing? I hope your family is safe and healthy.
They are. Thanks for having me. Yeah, hope you guys are well. Yeah, we're doing great. Everybody's kind of, I'm an old guy, so I still go into the office every day. But my family's locked down with their jobs and able to do work at home, and we're all healthy at this point. So thanks for asking. We're great.
What is the effect that the virus has had on Street Ministries? You obviously can't go and be in person to the gyms or to a lot of the events that you might used to have had. So what does that do to you?
Yeah, it's hard. Obviously we have 2 34,000 square feet facilities, one in South Memphis, Claiborne Foot Homes area, and one in Kingsbury area, Graham Heights. And so obviously through orders and wisdom, we can't open up to families and kids. So, you stay in touch with kids over social media and on the phone and try to figure out how to be a resource to them if you know where food or supplies or those kind of help things are. But, it kind of cripples you a little bit. And so we're doing the best we can. And we're not alone in that. There's youth centers all over the city. I've talked to youth leaders for the past 48 hours that are trying to retool and figure out and really trying to take care of part-time staff. All of us have so many part-time staff out there that we employ solely to be with kids at our centers in the afternoon, and now that the centers aren't open. So for Streets and others, we're still paying our part-time staff because they need the money, and we want to retain them once this thing is over. But for some of the part-time staff are having to go elsewhere to find employment. So that's kind of hard on us.
Ken, for your organization, everybody is looking forward to the day that we are liberated from COVID-19 and we can live our lives again and go and recreate and spend and have fun. I think the opposite could happen to you. Are you braced to the onslaught, the deluge of people that will need to be tended to and administered to?
Yeah, I talked with our on-site executive director, Eric Valentine at Streets, and we were talking through that for a couple hours today. What supplies do we need to have on hand? And, one of the things, stats, is, kids will have been out of school for so long. So looking at summertime stuff, we always talk about the crippling effect of kids not being educationally stimulated in the summer, and we usually talk in terms of end of May to middle of August, and now we're talking in terms of March till we don't know when. So looking at how do we gear up to help families educate their kids during this time, because school could be suspended, but our centers could be open in May. So that's one thing. And there again, what role do you play in services of helping you with utilities or phone bills or certainly food supplies, and how do you connect people, and do we go out and purchase some stuff? And so don't really have any answers right now, but that's what we're spending an inordinate amount of time thinking about and talking through with leaders around the city right now.
Couple of things come to my mind when you say those things. First off, the food, which is so important because in the areas that you are so importantly serving, a lot of the young kids were getting food through schools, and then that was going to continue even in the off time here, and schools don't go back till April the 6th, but because somebody in the food prep was exposed to the coronavirus, that went away. There have been several other entities that have stepped up that say that they will fill that void. Is that happening for you right now?
Not at this moment, but yeah, I've got the same information you have. There have been restaurants and individuals that are willing to step up. It's like everything else in our country. How logistically do you smoothly make that happen, and how do you get in contact and with folks that you have relationships with? And so, That's, we kind of knew when they said they would supply food. We all sat there going, yeah, but during this food prep service, there are going to be a lot of food preppers that will end up being exposed to corona. So this wasn't something we said, I can't believe this happened, but you certainly didn't want it to happen. But I don't know a definitive. I know there's a bunch of restaurants out there trying to solve that problem along with centers around the city.
And then the
Yeah,
other,
when you see that 7% of the New York City police force had to legitimately call in sick for work
Right.
today, and Ken, you mentioned food preppers. We're going to have police. We could get down in a large city, maybe even New Orleans, somewhere real close. Who knows? If not for the great preventative measures taken here in Memphis, it could be in Memphis with nurses and doctors. We could get in a slim supply of warm bodies, just people that can do anything.
Absolutely. It's the great conflict right now of, stay shuttered in, but help. And so, we're very vulnerable, and that's why we're trying to do everything we can along with other folks in the city, coupled with, quite frankly, getting on our knees and praying every night for God's grace and mercy.
the other aspect to the kids and education is, I know the superintendent of schools said it would be very tricky for us to go online like the colleges are going to do, because a significant amount of the population that are young students don't have computers or really access in their homes to computers. I don't know if that is one of the areas that you are trying to, pick up the slack.
Well, and one of the things, we've been in dialogue with a bunch of folks is, you don't know incrementally how this works. So you say, in 2 weeks, will Mayor Strickland go, hey, we're going to ease up, but we don't want more than 30 people gathering, or 10 people, or will it be 50 people? And will it be all of a sudden we're all back in? And so we're kind of looking at all those angles going, okay, we, like at Streets, we have 2 significant computer centers. And so could we during the day have specified times for kids to come in, get online, get their lessons or whatever their teachers have put out there for them? I'm involved with a school that me and some mutual friends of mine and Dave started years ago called New Hope Christian Academy. And we were able, because of our network, we were able to bring our kids to get stuff at school prior to this shutdown. And we staggered that. And then our teachers are actually on call at New Hope Christian Academy for 2 hours a day for their students. But there again, like Dave is saying, everybody doesn't have that luxury. So logistically, how do you do it? And I don't know, we all of our sites around the city, many youth providers have computers, but how do you get kids to the site safely? How many can gather? I mean, those are things we won't answer in the next week or so, but we're talking about it.
I guess one other aspect that comes to my mind is just like everybody who is tied to 401ks or trying to save for their future. If I recall, you have been given several gifts over the years, some that were pretty handsome, and
sure
that I suspect that there is a certain amount of endowment that you have that has sort of been cut away. Plus, in this hard time when people are slashed of salaries and they're wondering about what's going to happen with them, giving is not quite as ample as it once was. How do you deal financially? Because your programs have needs.
Sure, and it's like at everybody's house. Your rainy day fund is set up for a rainy day, not a catastrophic event, right? So, we're like everybody else, and certainly, year end where people oftentimes give stock gifts to all nonprofits around the world. Some of those will take a hit for sure, and then some people, there might be donors out there listening to various ministries or institutions or wherever, nonprofits. One way you can help a nonprofit too is if you feel secure in where you're sitting financially and you had already committed a gift that you were going to give to them in November, maybe you could give it to them in June, maybe not. So there's different, but yeah, everybody's, everybody's going to take a hit, and that's okay. I mean, most of us are in the business because we felt called to be there. It wasn't a cause; it was a call, and we've cycled through these times. Streets. I started Streets in '87, so we've been through some of, not exactly like this, but some up and down times financially. And God's always been faithful, but we're like businesses or our households. When you have to trim back, you have to trim back, and you have to subdivide your staff a little bit and get a lot out of a little. And so, but yeah, there are some uncertain times financially for a lot of institutions at this point.
And Ken, a month ago, it was high oil times. It was a good economy we've ever had, and I'm sure it felt like you were really being blessed with a lot of great contributors.
No, absolutely, and obviously we talk about it all the time. Memphis is an incredibly generous city, and are very kind with and sharing what they have. But times like this, it's Streets. We have an annual golf tournament that now we've put on the back burner till June 1, and hopefully that will happen. If it doesn't, that's a pretty significant fundraising event for Streets, and so we'll have to adjust to it. But your stats, you're 100% correct. Much different sitting here today than a month ago, feeling like you might live a little fat. Now you're figuring out how lean you can live and still get services to people.
One of the things that has really struck me about what we're going through right now is how so many different things are interconnected. Just a simple thing like a golf tournament for you, which gets taken away. Now that could be programs that you can offer that now you have to figure out a new way if you can do them at all.
Sure. And that's, necessity is the mother of invention, and we'll all go through that. And we've got staff that understands that raises might not take place or contributions might not take place, or, we're even looking at, we take kids to a camp in Missouri in June. We're in dialogue with that camp that probably won't be open, and rerouting some things. We had college tours, which we do every spring break, that we couldn't do this year. And so just a lot of adjustments. But, at this point, I think we've been blessed, and many others have, that at this point, they're more of an inconvenience. But if it was over a sustained period of time, it'd be more than an inconvenience. But we'll take it as it comes and try to do the best we can. And Memphis has so many incredible nonprofits in the city, and so many great and generous foundations and people that we'll make do on what we have, and hopefully everything will rebound next year, and things will be okay.
Well, we all pray for that. Last thing, Ken Bennett from Street Ministries joining us, and I know, Ken, nobody talks about this, and you're around the kids a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How are they coping? Are young people scared?
Yeah, I think so, and especially the lower you are on the economic run, the more vulnerable you are. And so I think we oftentimes, although we've done a better job in our culture recently of realizing the trauma that people go through, and that we have to process it out with them and live through it with them. I remember a poignant time years ago. I was talking to a kid on the phone who was on a front porch stoop over in the Old Foot Homes and heard gunfire. And he said, "Hey, I got to go back in. They're shooting again." And to me, the way he said it was, "Oh, they're shooting again." But that's trauma. And so many times we look at folks being resilient, but still when we go through these events and stages in life, there's long-lasting trauma that we need to process out. So the most vulnerable of our society are really scared right now because, for me and Debbie and our kids, we got a little money in the bank, we got plenty of food in the refrigerator, and we're not in any kind of panic stage right now. We got heat and air on, but there's a huge portion of our community who realize, if I don't go to work tonight, where's that loaf of bread? And that's a real trauma that not only do we need to physically help them through, but we need to emotionally and psychologically be able to help them through.
I'm with you. If anybody cares to give to you guys or figure out a way to help you guys, what would they do? How do they get a hold of you?
You can go to streetsministries.org. It's our website, and there's a place to donate there. And if you can't donate now, when you can, think of us. And if we're not exactly in your niche, there's just great nonprofits in the city that are doing great work too. And so find some place to give. It's not streets. Find a place that's loving the most vulnerable in our city and find a way to become attached to them. That'd be great.
Ken, thank you so much. Best to your family.
Thank
Stay
you.
healthy.
Keep up the
We
great work.
appreciate you.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you, Ken.
Take care. Bye.
Ken
Thank
Bennett
you.
from Street Ministries. We thank Ken for giving us some of his time a little bit earlier. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll let you know this final portion of the program brought to you in part by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows a big decision if you're still going to build. Lots of construction still going on, and you know he's the king of remodeling an older home and making it a modern palace. Or if you're looking for land, he's got a new development. It's called Leylon, a gated community by Boyle on Messick Road, east of Kirby, all the way to McVeigh. 4-bedroom homes start at $875,000. If you've got a piece of land and you're not sure what to do with it, Ken knows. He and his dad, well, they built homes now for the last 40 years around Memphis. The very best is Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Go see for yourself. Go to kengarland.com and then call 751-1632. Back in a minute. We'll put a wrap with Crunch Time on the line on Sportstime with Wolo and Stats.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today: 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Stop waiting and start off-road living in a Can-Am today. The Spring Fever event is now on at Olive Branch Motorsports. Take on every task, trail, and terrain in a Can-Am off-road vehicle that will easily handle anything that comes your way. And for a limited time, get up to $2,500 off on select 2019 models, making it easier than ever to go out and play. Visit Olive Branch Motorsports now at 5656 Goodman Road or online at obmotorcycleatv.com.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
It's also brought to you by Genesis of Olive Branch. That's luxury, ladies and gentlemen. I got a G90. I can attest to all the luxury with the ride, the speed, the handling, the safety technology, and the comforting note in my head that this thing is going to last forever. It's a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, powertrain warranty on every new Genesis car. That just makes you feel really good. It does. And the ride makes you feel really good. And if you know these people, you feel real safe and secure, too. They are the way car business should be done. Get on Lamar, get into Mississippi, exit 1, Craft Road. Turn left, see Chris True and all the gang at Genesis of Olive Branch. Here's Crunch Time.
crazy. This is Geraldo. It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I was so glad to hear that the owners of the Philadelphia 76ers that also own the New Jersey Devils, that they got back down. They were trying to cut employees 20%. They got back down. They also raised ticket prices the last 2 years for the 76ers about 20%. And I also saw today that the Lakers charge all their season ticket holders on their credit cards, have already charged them for the playoffs.
Wow.
Be careful out there.
Wow. Well, those are refundable, I'm sure, if there are no games. Obviously, the big story today was the decree by the governor. Bill Lee has said public schools in the state of Tennessee, including Shelby County, are now closed until at least April the 27th. Also, Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence and his girlfriend Melissa Mowry tried to do something positive for victims of the pandemic by setting up a GoFundMe account in an attempt to raise money. Well, a temporary stop sign was put up before it could get the fundraiser going. The state confirmed with Clemson on Tuesday the page was promptly shut down due to NCAA rules. However, the NCAA issued a statement Tuesday denying that the organization itself asked Lawrence and Mowry to take it down. Apparently, this was done by Clemson. They may have to rethink it. The NCAA may actually be showing some humanity here.
I hope so. Could have done without the late-breaking news of the closure, naturally, in Westchester County, not far from Manhattan, of Wingfoot Golf Club, the host of the U.S. Open. We're getting close. I've been worried about another round of golf announcements. Not only are we knocking on the door of football, but we're knocking on the door of the the WGC FESJI.
Well, that could be the very first event, the way things are going.
I hope so.
July 4th weekend. If it is, don't we get
what
Tiger?
A party.
Don't we get Tiger? I could have done without.
We get Tiger, and we'll go to Flight Restaurant every night that week, Dave.
I love that. You're right. We will. Noah Syndergaard, the great Mets pitcher, out, getting Tommy John surgery. I'm telling you, anybody who had any question that was going to try to cut through this season, they're going to get all their medical work done. Makes sense.
Yeah. This is the year to get it all done. We'll be watching tonight to see just the interest of Cam Newton. Also, Peyton Manning celebrating his 44th birthday. How about this, SEC Network? Show his college games.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea. Thanks to Ken Bennett, Brent Beard, John St Clair. We're going to talk to him a little bit more often. And Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com. Tomorrow, Ryan Silverfield at 3:30. TJ Reeves, Damon Stoudemire from Pacific, who won the really nice award today, the Ben Jobe Award, for being the top minority coach of the year after the great season he had at Pacific. That'll do it for us. Again, we will be here tomorrow. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Brett. All stay healthy, and we'll do this again mañana.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901